What are you writing?
I still love that jump scare, by the way. I don't know what it is. So simple, but so good. Well, welcome everybody to God. Been a long hiatus since I've done a live on here. So welcome back to Behind the Fiends, I guess. Got my old buddy here, Steve. The
Hello.
man, the myth, the legend.
The legend. I don't know about that. Yet.
Well, soon to be.
We'll see.
Soon to be.
Yeah.
He is the man, the madman behind the SAWYER Massacre, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan film, and he is also the mad scientist behind the upcoming film Unseen, which is what we will be talking about in this live stream today. How are you doing, good sir?
Very good. Very what's the word I'm looking for? There's probably a million words actually for what it's like. I'm less than 2 months away from going into production with this film, so I'm stressed, I'm excited, I'm many things. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time.
You're anxiety ridden, basically.
Yeah, anxiety ridden. That's a good way to put it.
I know that. I know that all
in a
too
good
well.
way, though. In a good way, we'll say that.
I want to apologize, everybody, if I'm a little slow on the ball here. It's been 6 months since I've done a live stream, so I feel like I'm a first timer all over again. God,
Yeah,
it's been a
I
while.
haven't done my live show for a while too, and I just haven't been able to get to it because been so busy with the movie, and a lot of pieces still have to come into play. But a lot of stuff has come into play. You know, we've booked some plane tickets for certain actors and stuff like that. So, you know, it's I feel like stuff is getting done. I'm still kind of fighting a few things. I'm trying to save money anyway. Obviously, if I had $1 million to make this movie, you know, I wouldn't worry about paying this much for that and that much for that. But you know, we're on a budget, so I'm trying to save money in every department that I can.
Yeah, because you told me before we started recording, you're what, 2 months away, was it? You said 2 months
Yeah,
now?
I just a little bit less than 2 months away now, a little less. So we're getting pretty close, and scheduling has been fun. That's some sarcasm there, but it's always. I mean, anybody who's worked in the film industry and has had to be in charge of doing scheduling knows what that can be like. And that was no different on the SAWYER Massacre. We had some massive scheduling problems, and somehow we managed to get it done. But there was definitely a few scenes where we had to kind of splice certain things together, where certain actors are supposed to be in the scene together, but because of the scheduling, we couldn't do that. And that it's kind of looking like this so far with this movie, but hopefully we won't have any issues where certain actors are supposed to be together in a scene and aren't. I really hope not, anyways.
So here's what I could say to you. This is not your first rodeo. You did this
Definitely not.
with SAWYER Massacre. And even though you had the name of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, kind of had that, you were making a fan film. Let's not forget, you shot that thing in 9 days with catering that backed out on you, special effects that backed out on you, drivers that backed out, or transportation, I should say, is the proper term, that backed out on you. And you made it happen. It worked. And God, you got what, like almost 200,000 views on that movie? Somewhere
closing in at 150,000 close, and it would be a lot more had we not been flagged, you know, and that was kind of unfortunate, but hey, it is what it is. And I'm starting to hate that saying, but I wasn't surprised that happened. But a lot of these fan films are getting flagged now, so That's all you can do is, I could put it out there again if I wanted to, just re-upload it to YouTube, but I don't. Part of me is like, what's really the point? It'll probably just get flagged again. So, uh, you know, um, we did okay. When it comes to the Sawyer Massacre again, there was a lot of elements that I wish I could have done better. Um, but it's a live and learn. It was never going to be a perfect film, obviously, with the kind of budget we had, but we did shoot it in Texas, and we did. I think we had a decent enough story that people, you know, they could grasp onto it, and people could understand what we were trying to do. And even though it could be a bit patchy at times and stuff like that, but I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of just the fact that we got that movie made, and it didn't turn out terrible, which it could have. I would thought that for a little bit. I thought, man, this movie is not going to turn out great, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, name me any movie that's perfect. I mean, you go to
Yeah,
films.
exactly.
Oh, I know people that go to film school and they say they shove Citizen Kane down your throat. But hell, even Citizen Kane, which is considered the gold standard of cinema, it's not perfect, not perfect at
Yeah.
all. And in my opinion, doesn't hold up as well anymore. So there's that. Godfather. I watched that the other day, and don't come after me, Mafia, but I
I
don't
love
feel
The
like
Godfather.
I do too, but it doesn't hold up as good as like it once did. It's dated. You can tell it's dated. But at the same time, that's still the beauty of the film. With
Yeah.
your film, you did exactly what Toby Hooper did. Back against the wall, no money, unknown actors, basically pay it. Well, you weren't paying your guys with weed, but he was paying his with weed or whatever else he could come across.
Did we pay anybody
Uh,
with I don't think so. I don't think we did.
but but you kind of did it the same way. You walked in his footsteps, so to speak. And that was the beauty of your film at the end of the day. It wasn't shiny, it wasn't pretty, it wasn't, you know, Hollywood to death like they do with a lot of horror franchises now. For me, horror movies are meant to be dirty and grainy and have a bit of a vintage look to them, and that adds to the eeriness of the atmosphere and everything. And I don't see that anymore, and that's what I love so much about you and other filmmakers in the indie. You still do it that way, whether right
Yeah.
or wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And it's I mean, it's because we don't have millions of dollars. Now, if somebody gave me $1 million to make this movie, I wouldn't say no. Let's just say that. But, I still want to make sure it has a certain aesthetic that's going to capture what I want, what I think this film needs. So same with the Sawyer Massacre. Man, if I had $1 million, it would probably look even grainier and dirtier than we did make it, because I'd have time to really think about all the elements that we really need for it, uh, in
And
whether it be in production or post production.
if you'd have drummed up that kind of money, I'm sure Kim Hinkle would have probably been knocking on your door. He'd be like,
Probably, yeah.
yeah, but and then again, maybe he'd be like, "Hey, you want to work on this together? I kind of dig your story." In a perfect
That would be
world,
cool. That
in a
would be cool. I
perfect
mean, that's
world.
always the dream, right? That would be the dream, to make an official movie, but I'm happy with what we did at the same time. But there's always that part of you that says, "Man, if this had like 5 times more money or something like that behind it, boy, could have we made it way better." We could have rented some equipment, uh, some camera equipment, because I'll admit, there was a bunch of the shots that we didn't do in the movie that were on the shot list because, well, for 2 reasons actually. One, the locations weren't matching up with, with what I had in my vision, and 2, we didn't have the right camera equipment. We were a little bit limited on the equipment as far as what our DP had, and I should have looked into possibly renting some gear, because there's definitely a couple things that I wish we would have had a jib for, a couple things I wish we would have had a gimbal for. But it is we got the best possible shots we could have gotten without all without all the bells and whistles. And there weren't not many shots on my shot list that made it on. There were not many. um it's the way it goes sometimes, though, and you just have to improvise. And I don't like throwing out my shot list, though. I really hope that the shot list I've made for this movie will get used extensively.
So you were talking about, and also to all of you all that have joined us live, forgive me, I completely ignored you. I apologize from the bottom of my heart. Amy, Carey, the Wolf of Pennsylvania. Let's see, Blue Moon Underground. Who else am I missing? Jamie Hill. All
Oh,
of
Jamie
you that
Hill,
have
she's in our
joined
movie.
us. So, hey, welcome. I appreciate it. Like I said at the beginning of this, I am rusty, like really rusty at this. I haven't done it in a while. But you were
I
talking
hear
earlier
you.
about a lot of these fan films getting struck down on YouTube, or getting claimed, I should say. I've already been through that with a video I did for a trailer reaction, which I thought
Uh,
uh, fair use, but turned out it wasn't. But have you ever thought of starting a Sequanda Films website?
Thought
And
about it. Thought about it. Yeah, it's just I probably will eventually. I think I know enough people that can help me with that. But just
I just
just so
I
what's that?
I said I built a website. I know how to do it.
Oh,
I
oh,
mean,
there you go. You can build it for me then. Go ahead. It's just been the matter. It's just right now. It's just been the timing. Just so focused on getting this next film made, and just want to make sure I get that at least produced, and then I can focus on other stuff a little bit, as it's been hectic, man. It's been it's been a lot of work. It's it's not easy. I think a lot of people think this is easy, and I don't know how some of these people do Indiegogo campaign after Indiegogo campaign for the next film and the next film. I don't know how they do that. I really don't, and they keep raising money for each one. I wish I could do that. I feel like I got to put all my focus into one movie. I guess they got bigger teams than I got. I'm almost like a one man team here. I mean, I do have some other producers that I'm working with, but essentially this is my show. I'm the main producer. I'm directing the movie, and I'm doing all the production coordinating kind of stuff and production manager. And that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to have on your shoulders. So, once I sort of got into that producer mode back in September, I've been like going full steam, and I've kind of put this mentality that, okay, we've raised this much. This is what we're going to make the movie for, and I'm just going to make the movie for that. But and if we raise more money, great. And we've raised a few more funds here and there, but nothing substantial, right? So I'm just always trying to find ways to save money. I've done pretty well, but there's a couple little things I still have to figure out, and we'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, website. I think we'll get a website going. I definitely have enough good content. I think we working with our graphic designer Joe Lawrence. He's been awesome. So I mean, I think there's enough that I could build a website for. That's for sure.
hey Gavin, I'm talking to my son here. If he watches this later, Steve needs a website. He's the one that taught me how to build mine. So
Oh, okay, cool.
20, 22-year-old kid, man, they know all the technology. I'm just a
Exactly.
48-year-old. I barely know how to turn on a TV. So, but he's the one that taught me how to work a lot of this stuff. So have him work on that for you, see what he can do. Um,
Well, definitely. We'll be in touch.
if I mean, I guess you're talking about how they got the bigger teams. I mean, a lot of those guys that I see that do, because we were talking about it the other day through Messenger, like the Mahal brothers. I guess they're brothers. We'll just say they're
Yeah,
brothers for the sake of this conversation. But
pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure they are.
they have got ties into so many things. And obviously, they've been around for a while. Maybe they had experience from the Bollywood scene, which is a big movie scene. People don't really understand how big of a movie scene that is, but
Oh yeah.
like you said, everywhere I look on Indiegogo, it's the Mahals, the Mahals, the Mahals, the Mahals, and
Yep.
then you have other people, which I've looked up and come to find out they were like actually special effects artists that do work in Hollywood that are making indie horror films. So, dude, look what you're doing. You're you're a musician from Canada that's making horror movies. That's pretty freaking sweet.
It's not bad. It's
And
not bad. It's fun. I do,
and
and
you're
I
not
do it.
turning
I
them
do it
out.
because I love doing it. That's at the end of the day. That's why I do it. If I wasn't having fun with it, even though it's a lot of work, and some days I'm like, oh, why can't I make this work? I still just absolutely love it. I love the creative process, and there have been days where I was like, man, of all the creative things I've done, why didn't I choose to be a stand-up comedian or something where you don't need all this amazing amount of work. You don't need to make shot lists, and you don't need to haul you have all this gear and just crazy amounts of stuff. You just need to be funny, and you got to write funny jokes. Okay, I probably could do it if I wanted to, but I just don't have the same passion for something like that as I do with music and movies. It's so here I am in probably the two toughest creative arts style professions, and I've made a little money here and there in both music and movies, but more music. I used to own a music school many years ago and toured around where I live quite often, made a decent living doing that for a while, but I'm not quite there with movies yet. I do get hired onto the Hallmark films and stuff like that here, and movie of the week sort of thing. But I'm not at a point where, geez, I'll be working every weekend at least, on a movie, So, but it's nice to know. Well, I mean, I've made a few bucks here and there on movie sets, but it's not what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it because I want to make my own movies. I don't want to work on other people's sets. I want to work on my own sets and that kind of stuff. It's much more fun and much more creative, if you know what I mean.
What was it, 2 years ago now? I remember I was talking to you for at least a couple of days, and you were just venting to me about how much you were working for the Hallmark Channel
Yeah,
or doing
a
a
Hallmark
Hallmark,
film movie, a
and you
Christmas
were talking
movie.
about how much you hated that.
It was
So
a
I
it
can
was a
understand.
that was, that whole I mean, I didn't make very much money, we'll say that much, I didn't I my day rate was something like, it was under $300 a day. It was not very much, and I was assisting the production coordinator, and the production coordinator walked out on the second day of filming because she couldn't stand the production manager. And I won't name names or anything like that here because, you don't, you don't want to, poop on anybody's name. But yeah, the production manager and one of the producers, big money type person, were just atrocious to work for. I was lucky I didn't really have to work with the producer very much, but I did work with the production manager, and he was in his head all the time, and he made every little problem that was happening on set to be like it was the worst thing ever, and it just made the experience not very good. And even though I kind of liked what I was doing, I didn't like that I had a new production coordinator that I was working with pretty much, every week that I was on that movie. It would be, okay, now the assistant production coordinator is now the production coordinator. Oh, now she's quitting too, and we've got this person coming in, and it was it was weird. I'd never worked on a film like that, and I mean, I was essentially mostly doing uh, purchase orders for the movie. Doing I had to do. I'm good at math, so I was adding up all the totals to, how much the lenses were and all that kind of stuff. The cameras, the lenses, sandbag, all the different stuff that was going into the production. So that was my main job. That literally took probably 15 minutes a day, and the rest of the time after doing the POs, I was on my computer promoting the Sawyer Massacre, or doing something small. So I did have to do things like the days out of days, and work on the schedule a little bit for everybody, and work on the email list. But yeah, I mean, it's not the kind of stuff I want to be doing in movies. It's good to do that stuff because it's helping me with my own production, making my own production schedule, making my own days out of days, which is really simple, by the way. But a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people don't use that, but I do. I do now, that's for sure. But it's just not the kind of stuff I wanted to be doing while I was on that set. So but I did spend a lot of time promoting the Sawyer Massacre. I got to bring my laptop there every day, so I was mostly doing that. And the production manager thought I was just doing lots of work, I think, but wasn't given a lot of work on that set. I really wasn't. But yeah, I did it. I don't know if I want to work
So,
on another Hallmark film again. Apparently that film came, I never saw it. It's called at the time it was called Christmas Alone Together, which I thought was a stupid title because Christmas Alone Together, that doesn't work. Right? Am I right? I don't know. What do you think, John? Am I
I
crazy?
mean, if
Alone
you're
Together.
maybe if it was it about a person with dual personalities, then I guess you're alone
I don't
together,
think so.
right? I mean,
They
like
changed the
me,
title.
myself, and Irene.
Exactly. But they changed the title to Christmas Together with You, and apparently it has a decent IMDb rating. So, well, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know if it's any good. But I got to meet a couple of semi-famous people. Got to meet one of the guys from The Blacklist. If anybody's familiar with that show, can't remember the guy's name. Harry something. I don't know. It was not.
I-
What's that?
that that's my dad's favorite show, actually.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
was getting into that show for a little while, but haven't seen it for. I think it's over now, but I don't think they're making new episodes. I think it's finally finished its run, but good show. Have to
dude,
finish it.
my father will literally call me after watching one of those episodes, and Dad, I know you watch my content, so look, I'm sorry, but he will get on there. Dude, this new episode of The Blacklist is awesome, and he will just go from beginning of to the end of the episode. So then I don't need to watch it because he's done described the whole thing to me
Yeah,
verbatim. So love you, Pop.
there you go.
Hey, he's 70, so if it brings him joy, it's cool with me. So
Exactly. There you
uh,
go. But it was an experience. I'm glad I did it, but it was not my. It's not what I want to do in the film industry, that's for sure. But it was money. It was a little bit of money before my son was born, so it helped. You know, helped the family out a bit. Yeah.
question I had, and I don't know if all the live streams you've done, maybe I missed it. But, what inspired you to write Unseen? What was the
Um,
inspirations and the
that's a good question. A couple different things. Movie wise, I would say Black Christmas is sort of the biggest movie inspiration. So I mean, you can get a little sense of that from the teaser the Indiegogo teaser we dropped when we started crowdfunding. But a lot of stuff comes to me in dreams. I'm one of those guys. Like even stuff with the Sawyer Massacre. A lot of that stuff came to me in dreams as well. So you just I don't know. I tend to get inspired by some of the weird dreams I've had, and I had this one dream. It's not the same story as what happens in Unseen, but it has some connections, and it just kind of got my brain, the juices in the old head kind of working a little bit, and it's like all of a sudden I had this idea, and I wrote a really quick short, just a short film. It was 10 pages long. I wrote that in the span of an hour, I think. And I showed it to my wife. I didn't know what to call it at the time, and she was like, call it unseen, or call it a person's name. And I won't say the name because that's the name of the unseen person, and I don't want to spoil that for anybody. But we called it unseen. We called it unseen, and I decided let's make a little short film out of it and enter it into some festivals and stuff like that. I didn't have a lot of money. It was under. I had about $1,000, and we spent a little under that. It was mostly on food and sound. Sound and food were the things that we spent money on. I didn't even have to pay for insurance back then because my old business was still, um, I still had that running, and the insurance I had through my business was able to cover production insurance for an added fee. So I was just paying that extra fee. So I essentially didn't even have to pay for insurance. It was mostly the sound was the biggest expense. But we shot the movie over 3 days, I think. I think we shot it over 3 days, the short. And I thought we had something kind of cool there, so I put in a few festivals, and we won a few awards. But I also got a lot of response saying I didn't understand it. I thought it was, a lot of people thought it was just a very, very basic slasher, and I was like, oh, you didn't get this aspect of the film. And it was about 50-50. I did find that the vast majority of people that didn't get it were a little younger. So I was kind of seeing a trend there, but it made me think, man, I think this should actually be a feature. There's enough ideas with these characters that I could turn this into a feature. And so I just started writing a feature, and I've made some tweaks. And then, of course, the Sawyer Massacre started to take shape a little bit. So I kind of put Unseen on the back burner, and I did the Sawyer Massacre instead, because just everything was kind of falling in place for that without me even putting any effort into it. So I just said, okay, I guess Unseen will wait. We'll do the Sawyer Massacre. But then after we did Sawyer Massacre, I came back to Unseen, and glad I did, because I really feel something with this movie. It's it's uh it's a movie that means a lot to me because it deals heavily with mental health, and I don't think that's something that I think it's something that needs to be explored a little bit in film, and you can so that people can see some of the scary sides of it, whether you're a good person or not. If you have a certain diagnosis and you don't take care of it, uh, things can be bad, so. And I've had my experiences with people. I've had past relationships. I had a relationship with a gal who was bipolar, and I saw I saw a lot of things that maybe it makes me want to help this person, but at the same time it's like, there's only so much you can really do. And so I just I don't know, things like that kind of inspired me as well, I guess you would say. Not just the dream I had, but I felt like I had something to say with the movie, basically.
Yeah, and I feel that. I'm a sufferer with, and I don't want to make this all about me, and I definitely don't want nobody, and I don't want nobody's pity either for it.
Yeah,
But I suffer with mental illness. I am basically PTSD. I have a panic attack disorder, and I am also OCD as a mofo.
I got the
It's the
OCD
pan
thing for
Yeah,
sure.
the panic attack disorder is the worst for me
I can
because
imagine.
that for me is just something, it'll just pop up out of the blue anywhere, anytime, and you get to a point early on when I was dealing with it, I got to a point where I really got depressed with it because I felt like I was a prisoner in my own body and that I had no control over my mind or anything about myself. I couldn't go out in public because of fear that I would just go into this crippling anxiety attack and just freeze up. Luckily now, I've learned how to manage it through medication and other means.
That's good. Yeah.
Caffeine Caffeine's a no-no for me. I can't
Ooh,
do caffeine. Everything has to be decaf because any kind of stimulant like that will, of course, set it off. But in terms of your movie, yeah, of course, That's something that's never really been it's been explored, but not explored. I mean, you look at a character like Norman Bates. Clear
Yeah,
cut was somebody with a mental disorder that was left untreated. It wasn't
exactly. Yeah.
taken care of, and look what happened, you know? So there's a scariness about it, the unknown,
Yeah.
because this person can it's a Jekyll and Hyde kind of
Exactly, and I think that's, another aspect that makes it kinda scary is that I think to a point, everyone has something that, that could push them over the edge, um, and anybody that's been close, like, I know I've been kinda close to going over the edge a couple of times, where I was just getting so, whatever, right? And I think anybody that has seen that part of their mind, where they could lose it, snap, will definitely feel something from this film because this movie is um, heavily in the perspective of the antagonist, and it's kind of implied that this guy isn't such a bad guy. He's just had the worst freaking day of his life, and it's like all the worst things that could have happened, and he snapped, so, um, but, so if you are somebody who's had a bad day and you felt like you were close, you'll relate to this and you get to see what could be the consequences, if that does happen, so, I think it's important for us to see that what the consequences are so that we become more aware of what could happen, if we were pushed over the edge, so, um, but at the same time, I just wanna make a scary movie too, right? But, but no, I mean, I'm serious though. I mean, those mental the mental part of the mental illness part of it was kind of important to me. I wanted to really showcase, what could happen, if things got that bad, if that
so
makes
it's
sense.
basic so I'm picturing in my head, it's basically like Michael Douglas's Falling Down meets Maniac, kinda.
Yeah,
Where with
to a
Maniac, the
point.
guy was very unassuming, but through our eyes, we knew what he really was, but to the characters in the film, they didn't know what he was, so
Exactly,
to
and,
speak.
you're not the first person that mentioned falling down. In fact, I think Brett Wagner
Mm.
was the first person who said, "I think I get a falling down sense from this from this movie," and you should, and you should. You should get a little bit of that. And I won't get into because again, I don't wanna spoil the movie for you guys. I want you guys to watch this movie and see if you can figure out all the pieces. It is one of those movies where if you can figure things out, you've done well because there's going to be a lot of people that watch this movie and like, what exactly? I didn't get that, and I didn't get, it's one of those movies where I know, I mean, people didn't get the end of the Sawyer massacre, right? And I thought that was pretty clear. This one is definitely like you got to be really paying attention to stuff, to really understand. Even a good number of people that read the script weren't picking up on little things, so that tells me, yeah, we've got something that's going to be definitely going to be hard to understand, but hopefully in a good
So
way.
this just popped in my head all of a sudden. That short that you did about a year and a half ago that you had me pre-screen for you to kinda give you my input on, the one that you put out, I have short-term memory, it's bad. Um,
Disorder was is that the one? Disorder?
yep, that's it,
Okay.
Disorder. Was that kind of like a test for you for Unseen?
Um, I think it's kind of become my style. It's of writing, as it is kind of similar, very similar, because it is about a somebody with mental illness, and it's kind of that twist ending sort of thing. Um, but I mean, still very different, different films, I just think that that's kind of more my style. Like, not that Sawyer Massacre didn't have my style to it, but my overall style of storytelling and the types of shots that I want to be able to compose in a film, Disorder was actually pretty darn close, considering that movie had no budget. It was literally like shot on $200. That most of that again was food and sound gear. Yeah, and sound gear. And I feel bad even saying this. We didn't have insurance on that movie, and I feel bad now because it was really the safest set I've ever worked on. I know the camera guys had insurance for their gear. It was more of a liability insurance sort of thing. I just wanted to see if I can do it without the insurance, and we did it without the insurance. And some dude got one of the cam ops got stung by a hornet and ended up in the hospital. It like got infected and it was really bad. It was really bad. So that was sort of my lesson. And like, okay, always get insurance no matter what. Even if you think it's the simplest freaking thing, get the damn insurance. Get it. Luckily he didn't take me to sue me or anything like that. But
So what, did he go into
you
like
want to cover your ass.
anaphylactic shock or something on the set?
I don't. He was. You know what? He was okay. It was towards the end of the first day of shooting, but overnight, I guess it got really bad, and he had to go to the hospital, and he could not come in. He could not help shoot the second day, so we were
Oh, if
shorthanded the second day. But we had. Well, I shouldn't say we were shorthanded because we did have enough people helping out, and could handle the camera pretty well. But some of those people are going to be working on just on scene as well. So shout out to them. Shout out to guys
hey,
like Paul and
they came back.
yeah, they came back, even though they didn't get paid on that movie. Nobody got paid on that movie. I made all the food myself. It was 2 day shoot, 2 day shoot, all in the same location. I had friends that lived on the creepiest street of Kelowna. They shot a zombie movie here a number of years on that street a number of years ago called Fido. I don't know if you ever saw Fido, but we shot Disorder on the same street as that movie. And, it was like, okay, I think we can make this for like nothing. And we pretty much did. And, it's not perfect. It's funny that we spent money on sound gear, but the sound is probably one of the worst things about the movie. Because we spent money on sound gear, but we didn't spend money on a sound guy, and that was not that good. Get a sound recordist, but it could be worse. I've heard worse sound in movies, that's for sure.
I liked that little short film. I really did. I
It
mean,
was okay. It was
you
okay. Yeah, no complaints from me. I thought, for what it was good, and it was decent. And actually, that one we entered it into a few festivals, and came out. We got a few minor awards, nothing huge, but and local, well, not a local, but a fellow Canadian film producer has just, I believe, he's added it to an anthology that just came out. I don't know where it's available, but it's called Horror-a-thon Volume 3, if I'm not mistaken. And he asked me back in June or something like that if he could put Disorder on it. I'm like, sure. Do I get any of the profits off of it? And I think I might. I don't know. I don't know if he's making anything off of it, but apparently it was released in January, so you can see Disorder on that if you can find the anthology anywhere. I don't know where it's available. So
it's
certain
on your
platforms.
YouTube channel though, isn't it?
I think Disorder's still on my YouTube channel. People can watch it on there. Again, it was just such a cheap movie that I don't mind. Yeah, I didn't mind to put it on my YouTube channel. But yeah, it'd be cool if I
How
made
about
some money off off of it. Considering we didn't put any money into it, it'd be kind of neat if I actually made a few bucks off of it for that anthology movie. We'll see. Everybody, go make sure to check out Horror-a-thon Volume 3. Horror-a-thon Volume 3, wherever it's available. I should reach out to that guy and find out where it's available because I don't know. I don't know if
be
it's
like,
on
hey,
Tubi
you
or
made any money off that? Where's my money?
yeah. Where's my cut? Where's my cut? Damn it! I want my $200 back that I spent on
Yeah.
the movie.
Don't make me smash kneecaps.
Exactly. But yeah, there's definitely a similar vibe in Disorder as what there will be in Unseen. I think that if there was one aspect I wish we did differently in Disorder, as I kind of wish we hid the killer a little bit more than we did. And but I've learned from that, and that's my big plan with Unseen, is to really not physically see this person. He's really going to be unseen. Um, because I don't want to give away who he is. I
I
want you guys thinking, boy, it could be this person or that person or that person or this person or that. You know, I want to see what you guys think. I want to see if you guys get to the end of the movie and you think you know who it is. You know, that kind of thing. I want to hear theories from people, like I heard with the Sawyer Massacre. What are your theories on this movie? What are your guys'
you want
theories on Unseen just from seeing the teaser trailer?
you want to
That'd be
do like a Scream movie where everybody's a suspect until the final reveal at the end.
yeah, exactly.
Kind of Morgan. Yeah, I remember when you first showed me Disorder, when you were like, "Hey, can you watch this for me and give me feedback?" And I watched it. And I remember I called that out to you, and you were like, "Shit, I didn't hide him well enough."
I
and
didn't.
you went
Yeah,
back
I
and
and
you went back and re-edited it.
did the best I could, but there's only so much you can do, and I don't think that I think that it's I got to be I learned that I have to be more firm on set, and because I think some of the shots that we had with the killer in it were some of the crews, like, we should be wider so we see his, but you don't we're trying to hide who this person is, so if you see too much of them, then it kind of spoils the ending. And I don't think I was firm enough when we were shooting the movie. So now I know I got to be firm, and I've been pretty firm with the DP on this. I'm like, we're not going to show this person all. We're going to see his hands. We're going to see his shadow, maybe silhouette, through a door, like we did in the door frame sort of thing in the concept teaser, and that's about it. That's all you're going to see of this person. It's mostly going to be what you hear and the things that he does without really necessarily seeing exactly what he's doing. But you things are implied, so you're going to have to decipher who this person is and what has made him go absolutely freaking nuts by paying attention. It's people are going to have to use their brains a little bit. This is definitely one of those brain thinker movies. If anybody's expecting a movie where you can just shut your brain off and watch a lot of blood hit the screen, this is not going to be the movie for you. This is really not going to be the movie for you. We do have special effects. However, it's not really, I don't think it qualifies as gore even. I don't even think
It's
it
not a
really
it's
eh,
it's not Terrifier.
it's definitely not. This is definitely not Terrifier, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm not knocking Terrifier or anything like that. I think those guys are awesome. They've done amazing. I'm friends with one of the producers on Facebook. We've chatted before. Great guys, and they're they're killing it. They're absolutely killing it. Uh, but those movies aren't really made for me. I
Yeah.
saw the first Terrifier, and I haven't seen the second one yet. I still need to see it. I saw the first Terrifier though, and I said to myself, okay, this was made for like 40 grand or something like that. It's comparable to the Sawyer Massacre. It was very close, maybe a little bit more, had a little bit higher budget than the Sawyer Massacre, not much. And I was like, crap, that's done pretty damn well. It looks really, really good. And I did feel there was some things that I wouldn't have done, but at the same time, it for what it was, they did an amazing job, and they've built a massive fan base. People are saying, "Oh, Art the Clown is the next big horror icon. He's the next Jason or the next Freddy or whatever." I don't know if he's quite going to get that high, but you never know. It's too
Well,
early to tell.
the merchandising alone, he has
Oh yeah.
made a killing off of
Oh,
that.
definitely.
I walked into a Hot Topic the other day just to walk in there and reminisce about when I used to shop there. And dude, the stuff in there with Art the Clown on it was just
Really? Hmm.
off the chain.
It's getting
Yeah.
there. It's pretty huge. Again, and I think it doesn't appeal to me as much because I'm not much of a clown guy. I've never been big
Well,
on clown horror movies,
when
but
I did
that's
the
just me.
when I did the teaser reactor for the Terrifier 3 a few months back, dude, I caught so much heat from people through my email, and I'm like, "Damn, I shouldn't have put my email address in my videos, but I did for business purposes.
Yeah.
How can you say you don't like Terrifier? You're not a true horror fan. You just hate. You hate." And I clearly say in the video, number 1, I admire the filmmakers that made this film, that they had the balls, the moxie to do something like that, knowing the kind of reaction that it's gonna get either positive or negative, and how it's gonna maybe put them in the public eye positively and negatively, the controversy it could stir. I admire, Damien Leone for that, and then with Art the Clown, he plays that part perfect.
Yeah.
I forget his name, the guy that plays Art, it's slipped.
David
David,
David Howard Thornton.
David Howard Thornton.
Yeah.
Excellent, because he's a trained mime artist, so he doesn't have to speak to convey his emotions and what he's doing. So I completely admire the series. I didn't say I hated it. All I said was, "It's not my thing. I am not a gore hound. I don't look for that in horror movies. I grew up watching silent film, German expressionist, old Universal monster, Hammer horror. I like
Yeah.
when gore is implied, and I don't mind a few gory bits here and there to get the story, progressing along, but
Exactly.
when it's just beginning to end disemboweling somebody, you lose me. I'm sorry. Yeah,
I hear you, man. I hear you. Yeah,
but
I
it's just
mean, it's it's definitely a modern horror thing more than anything else. I mean, because it never used to be so much in the older horror films. I guess the 80s is when the gore thing kind of became more prominent. There was better use of special effects and all that kind of stuff. So um, it's just, yeah, I'm with you. I like the implied stuff more, and there's nothing wrong with gore. It's just that does not make a movie scary to me. I'm okay to see a gory movie. You can give me a gory movie, but is it scary? At the same time, is it scary? Does it have suspense? Does it have atmosphere? Is it going to disturb me in any way? Because gore on itself is just not disturbing enough. You have to give me something that again, it's always better to imply something disturbing rather than show it. A good example of that to me is the Human Centipede, where it was implied what was happening here, but you didn't really see much. Whereas when they did the sequels, okay, now we're seeing all and it's just the effect is gone. But yeah, I mean, that's just for me personally. I know that younger audiences want the gore, and maybe I sound like an old cynical guy, and that I'm not open-minded to gorier films. I wouldn't say that. I'm open-minded to them. Just a lot of them, the ones I've seen, really haven't hit me the way that the older films have.
like
Personally.
that movie, what was one of my favorite movies, was one of Peter Jackson did. That's just a complete gore fest. I think it was called Brain Damage that Peter
Oh, okay.
Jackson did. Love it. Is it in my top 5? No. It's a little too gory for me, but I love it because it's just so freaking over the top that you just can't take it serious, and nothing about it's scary. Um, Basket Case, I absolutely love that movie. I know, and Luke, I know you hate it, but I love it. But, and that was gory to an extent, but how they made the puppet, out of Coke bottles and latex is basically how
Interesting.
they made Belial. So
Wow.
I like that kind of thing. But I'm like you, I'm of the same mindset that if you take so much of your budget for the special effects to do all this gore, if you would think about it and pull that money back for all them special effects that you need to make this gore fest and use it for other avenues in your film, are you not producing a better product in the end? Maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the good thing about Terrifier is it does have a story. There is a lore to Art the Clown because he can't be killed. He's I guess a demon in a clown form, so to speak. They don't really hint at that in the first one, but it's pretty much implied in the second film because he comes
Yeah.
back to life. Spoilers, but it
I
it
don't
it,
think
it
could that really be a spoiler at this point? I don't know.
yeah, I think everybody's seen it. I mean, Jesus, but like the movie that me and you both love, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Everybody you talk to that has ever seen this movie, it's ingrained in their brains that this was the goriest film ever made, but it
Yeah,
wasn't.
but it
It
wasn't.
wasn't at all.
Yeah. It was all in your mind, you know, it was the gore was just the way they shot it. It made it feel like it was a lot gorier than it actually was, and I think that's the beauty of that film.
And see, when you can implant that into somebody's subconscious like that, that's
Yeah.
powerful. That is
Oh,
very
yeah.
powerful, and that lasts generations upon generations because of course when people start and they go watch it, well, I thought you told me it was going to be dismembering of people everywhere, and it's not that. But it's just the magic of it. Sometimes what you leave behind the curtain is sometimes your most powerful tools as a filmmaker, I feel. What you don't let the audience see, and they use their imagination to actually think to themselves, what is happening? I mean, I hear it,
Exactly.
but I don't see it.
I hear you.
That's that's more terrifying than actually putting your eyes on
Exactly. Yeah. There you go. For me anyways, I
it.
mean, again, we're older, John, so we we're in our 40s and, the young 20-year-olds, I'm not saying that there aren't, 20 somethings out there that won't love, the type of films that I'm making. I'm sure there is. But, don't expect Terrifier from me. That's I'm not saying I'm never gonna make a gorier film. I probably will. A lot of people think that Sawyer Massacre is gory, where I don't think it really is that gory. I mean, there's a little bit, but it's Sawyer Massacre is definitely gorier than Unseen is going to be. I'll say that much. But it's still not
And
very gory to me, you know.
and speaking of that, you got Nika coming back.
Yeah, we had to recast a role, and I originally didn't cast Nika in this film because she was in Paris, I believe, or France somewhere for school. So, so my thinking was there's no point in casting her because she's going to be away for school. And then I heard from her, and she's like, I'm back in Kelowna. I was like, oh, I would have totally cast you in my film had I known you were back in Kelowna. So something didn't work out there for her, and that's fine. She's pretty okay with her experience in France, but I was happy enough to get her in the film. So I'm glad to have Nika back. I mean, she won 2 awards for Sawyer Massacre, so um, very, very proud of her. I mean, she should be getting. I don't know why she's not working in a ton of films. To be honest with you, I think she is amazing, but there's not a ton
She'll
of
get
films
there.
being made here though either.
She'll get there because to me, she's very beautiful. But on top of being very beautiful, she is an just extremely talented actress. Just
And she's
extremely
got the
talented.
hair. I love the hair. I was like, "Don't change anything about that hair for our movie. It's perfect. It's got a real kind of 60s Southern gal kind of look to it, and that curly hair. It's naturally like that. I think that's a great attribute for her to have. So I hope to see her in more movies. I hope that she's not going to be typed into these horror movies all the time. There's nothing wrong with that, but she's going to be in Sawyer Massacre and now Unseen, 2 horror movies. So I really hope that she's able to branch out and get into some different kind of stuff, because I think she can. I mean, she can do pretty much anything. I know she's not really, like, she's not somebody who's totally into horror either. She's just she likes a good story, and she got behind Sawyer Massacre very, very early on, and we were happy that we could bring her to Texas to shoot that movie. So now I don't
Was
have to bring her anywhere because she lives in the same town as me. Yay! It just makes things
was
easy for me.
Sawyer Massacre her first film?
I think she may have been in a short film. I know she does have, there is a short film that she's in. I think it's called The Priest, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and I don't know where it's available, but I know it's on her demo reel. So I don't know which one she shot first. I think she may have shot The Priest first, though. I think. Don't quote me on that. So, but
The
yeah, I
only
mean,
reason I
those are the
asked
only things I know from her. Those are the only movies I've seen from her. So we need to get her in more movies. Damn it, she won 2
well,
awards. You people out there, you
yeah,
cast her.
well, that's why I was getting ready to say, because if that was her first movie, well, if she did a short, this was her first basically feature-length film that she did. The way she reads the room, when she's on camera, she takes the temperature of the room. You could tell she takes in the emotion. She gets into her role. She fills it out and adjusts, and it's almost like she's been doing this for 20 years. Not somebody that's
Almost like,
just walked into a film, and that, I'm singing high praise, and it's not just because I love Sawyer Massacre and I've kinda got a little skin in that movie, with helping you getting it made,
yeah, for
but
sure.
that to me is like you're drawn to her character, you focus on her because you realize everything is kinda building around her as being kinda the final girl at the end, and you don't necessarily know that until halfway through, but she's just got such a powerful performance in that, and I think she actually helped Scotty too, because like you said with Scotty, he's just such a big, gentle giant. I'm sure
Yeah,
to get him to really embrace that barbaric, sadistic side really took some motivation, where with her, I'm
yeah.
sure she kinda helped him along with that.
Probably did. I don't know. It's I mean, I think she helped the whole cast really. I think she really kind of lifted up the whole cast. I mean, because I mean, it was a tough shoot. Like Sawyer Massacre was really tough movie to shoot, and I think a lot of the cast were like, "Oh my god, this is tough. This is a lot tougher than I was expecting." Because of the conditions that we were filming in, the locations we're filming in, it made it that much tougher to pull off. And I think Nico had this sort of attitude like, we got to give it all we got, everybody. Let's give it all we got. We're going to make something awesome here. And she had that kind of attitude on set every day. And she made every actor that she worked with better. 100%.
Yeah, I get it.
I think I heard Jordan O'Neill even say something like along those lines too at some point. I can't remember if that was at our premiere or if he came on my podcast and said something like that. But that was the truth. Like she really made everybody better, and she was like the youngest, pretty much one of the youngest. We had those 2 young girls as well, but other than that, she was the youngest person on set. So she was great. She's great. Again,
And that
people,
and
casting directors out there, get her,
and that's
directors.
why you just saying that story, that's exactly why she's gonna be a big name on a matinee sign or whatever one day. She's
Yeah,
gonna be
I think
somewhere
so.
up
I'll
down
be
the
shocked.
line.
I think the only way she doesn't is if she decides that this is not what she wants to do. And that's totally cool if it's not what she wants to do. She wants to do other creative things. I know she's a great singer. I think she plays piano as well. She probably writes songs, so she is definitely a good musician. I've heard some of her stuff. I've heard her perform before, so she's really, really good. So you never know. She might decide to focus more on music. Who knows? But if she decides she wants to do film, she's going to be a star. I mark my words on that. If she decides I'm going to be an actress, she's going to be she's gonna kill it. You're going to see her name because she's that awesome and she's great to
Now
work
move it,
with.
yeah. And moving on to another actress that you got in this movie, how did you come to know Felissa Rose?
Oh, Felissa Rose. I think it's just through networking over the years, especially with Sawyer Massacre, and I became close with people that knew her fairly well, and it got to the point where she accepted my friend request and all that kind of stuff, and we chatted a couple times, and I said, hey, we should make a movies together sometime. So, you know, it was pretty simple, really. I mean, she's really tough to get a hold of because she's so busy. But you know, uh, when we talked, it was like, okay, let's see if we can make it happen, and we'll see, you know, and she was willing to sign the LOI, the letter of intent, um, and we cast her in the film, and so I mean, it's pretty simple with her. I mean, it's pretty awesome that we have her cast in Unseen. I'd really like the role that she's going to play. I really like it. Um, so I won't say much about it because again I don't want to spoil much, but I think it's a really good role in the film.
I will say
But
this about her and the little bit of interaction I've had with her, especially on social media. One of the kindest, sweetest, most gentle, down to earth people you'll ever meet. But my God, when you look at her IMDb, Lord, it's just
yeah,
movie after movie after movie after movie after movie after movie.
a lot of movies, that's for sure. I'll
She
be
might
honest, I
be
haven't seen like hardly any of them. I saw one of them recently at a film festival. I was invited down to Tennessee, to Lebanon in Tennessee for oh god, I'm so bad with names these days. Um,
me
good
too. It's
film
called
festival, yeah, yeah. It's
it's
called
called
Getting
getting
Old.
old.
The Macabre Fair Film Festival. One of the producers of our film is the director of that film festival. So he invited me down to show the Sawyer Massacre, and a movie that she was in was also playing at that festival. And yeah, she's really good. There was a lot of nudity in that movie. It was practically a porn. I didn't. She wasn't naked or anything, at least not from what I saw. I didn't watch the whole movie, but man, there was a lot of nudity in that movie. But it's classic with 80s horror movies. So I guess you gotta people want the folks want their nudity in their movies. That one had a lot. I think it was kind of poking fun at that though, to a point though too. But yeah, it was good
I
movie though. It
like
won awards.
I I like how people still to this day think that her at the end or that was her at the end of Sleepaway Camp making the weird face with the ding ding swinging, and it wasn't. It was they I think they plaster casted her face
Yeah,
at that time, and they put it on some poor college student
yeah,
who had to get drunk prior to the scene just to pull it off, who they just stuck that face on him and made him stand there like that with his, birthday suit, just
yeah. It's only her
swinging
for
in the
the
breeze.
close-ups, right? It's only her for like the close-ups on her face and
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. So classic scene. I
Still
mean, it's one of the biggest shockers of a horror movie of all time, right? It's one of those things that always stands out. One of the greatest endings. I don't know if I'd say greatest, but it's definitely one of the most shocking endings to a horror film for sure.
I actually which I'd have to get up and walk away from here to go get it. I actually have one of the old, posters from, the old video rental stores. I went on eBay and found it. And this really dates it because this was when New Coke remember when New Coke
Oh
came out
yeah,
in the '80s? It says rent sleepaway camp and get a can of New Coke for free on it. And I got it hanging in a frame in my living room. I had to show it one time on a YouTube short or something. It's kind of like one of my most treasured possessions. And I hope to one day
That's
get to
awesome.
meet her somewhere where I can actually have her sign that for me.
Well,
And
there you
maybe it'll
go.
bring back a memory to her too. If maybe she's seen it at some point in time. But
Exactly. There you go. That's awesome.
love that film.
Yeah.
So, so how many days necessarily do you have for her? Because she's so busy. I mean,
We're working out the schedule. The schedule again. Scheduling has been very tough. I'll just say that it's been really tough. It's not going to be a lot. We'll say that it's not going to be many days. That's for sure. But we'll do some movie magic.
and she's union too, isn't she?
No, no.
Well, I'll be damned. I thought she was still
You'd be shocked with how many different actors are non-union. That's why she works on a lot of these indie films. Because I mean, a lot none of these indie films are union.
I,
how could any of them? I mean, pretty much. I don't think any of these indie films are union. I mean, there might be one or two here and there when they get their budget big enough. Maybe the Mahal brothers stuff is union. I'm not sure. I could see that because their budgets are bigger than ours. That's for sure. But beyond that, like all the other stuff that's crowdfunded, it's non-union, pretty
I
much.
know, I know Nancy, our friend Nancy Ritter, who
Oh yeah.
played 96 Scream.
Hmm.
She was union, and so was Lenora, who was also in Scream. They were the bathroom girls,
Yeah, the Bathroom Girls. Yeah.
but I don't know if they're union anymore because they've done a few indie horrors. So I don't know if they.
Ask her. Ask her. I remember I chatted with Nancy briefly on Facebook, and I can't remember whether she said she's union or not, but it was a while ago. I should check my messages on that, but I don't know
Well,
if, if
she worked with Dylan Brown. I think Dylan Brown or Josh Brucker recently.
hmm, I don't know.
So unless they managed somehow to get the union to let them work that movie,
Yeah, I
y-
mean
but
I mean, non-union actors can sometimes get in on union films. Sometimes there's not many non-union actors can do it. I mean, there are some rules, obviously. Um, SAG is tough in the States. I remember going through the paperwork on that because I did try to make Sawyer Massacre SAG. It was just no way our budget could do it. But Canada is not quite as bad. The Canadian unions aren't too bad. The one thing that's hard with our film, why we can't make our movie a union, is the fact that we have multiple American actors coming to Canada, and they only allow up to one, and it has to be like a star. So if Felissa Rose was the only big name U.S. actor coming to Canada, then we could apply for the union for the ACTRA union status here in Canada. But since we got more, I don't
I'll
qualify.
have I'll ask Nancy and Lenora because I'm trying to get them back on the channel here sometime soon. But they've been so she's killing it. Them two are they're just killing it on the con scene right now. So
Well,
they're
bet.
busy with that.
Yeah, lots of cons. I know that Felissa does a ton of cons. I know that she probably does more cons than movies. Probably does, but I know Felissa just wrapped on a movie too. Um, so I don't know if she's around now or not.
And
I don't know.
and she also does well. She sporadically appears on Shudder's The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob.
Oh,
She
okay.
so she is Joe Bob's mangled dick expert
Oh boy,
because
I gotta watch that.
because of in her scene on Sleepaway Camp, Joe Bob said that that poor kid looked like his wee wee was pretty messed up. So he made Felissa the expert on that for whatever reason.
Makes sense to me.
But
Anyways,
Well, do you want to plug your Indiegogo?
Sure. I don't know if you have a link to it or anything. I wonder if it's possible for me to post it.
Yeah,
But
you could share it.
we,
StreamYard allows people to share,
let me
or
just see if
guests to share.
it's been a while since I've done this on
And
StreamYard.
I actually have the link in the description of this
Oh, you do
live
have the link
stream.
in the
Hmm.
okay. There you go. It's in the but I'll see if I can find it on the internet, the old interweb here. And it's done okay. It's slowed down quite considerably since I started working on pre-production stuff. Because I'm not a great multitasker, man. I'm when I got into production stuff, pre-production work, I became a producer, and I was like, I got to buckle down and get stuff going here. Um,
I'm the
but you
same
know,
way. If I don't focus on the task at hand and start trying to do two or three different things at once, then nothing will get done. Nothing
exactly.
will get done.
Let me just copy this link.
I also want to thank
Copy.
the people that participated in that little trivia question I asked the other day to give away those 3 digital download codes. Um, Congratulate them on winning that, and hopefully you reached out to Steve and got your name on the list
Reach out to
because
me,
they were
man.
bought.
I haven't had anybody reach out to me yet and say that hey, I was a winner. So
All right, let's see.
reach out to me because we'll get your name in the credits and all that stuff.
Let's see how I can do this here.
Did that work? Is it
Open
in the
it.
private chat?
Yep, I'm getting ready
Okay.
to
Go
remember how to
support.
do this.
We're like I don't know what it is in US dollars, but we're like $12 away from like 12K in Canadian dollars on this campaign. So I'd love to get up to like 15K in Canadian before we go into production. Man, there's expenses that are oh man. Some of these expenses, I tell you. We got things
There
like
we go.
insurance. Oh, there it is. We see it in US. So it's 88.79, almost getting close to 9,000. That doesn't include the campaign we have before. So I mean, and we also took in one equity investor. I don't know if I'll take in any more equity investors or not. We'll see.
Just let me know when you want me to scroll down.
Okay. So scroll down, I guess, a bit. Welcome. And there's some information there. And you can see some perks. Social media shout out. Just very cheap to get that social media shout out. Just $6. And we do
Which
a
is
really cool shout out on social
$8
media.
Canadian.
Is that what it works out to? I don't know. Yeah, about
Eight.
there.
Then you
Depends
got the
on
special
the
links,
exchange rate. That exchange rate changed so much. I bet if you look at it tomorrow, it'll be like we've raised $8,600. It'll go down a bit, or it'll go up a little bit. Maybe it'll hit 9,000. Who knows? It's going to be different every day. Special thanks, $11. Digital download. That's you got 3 of those, and you got that for 3 lucky winners. Those winners better reach out to me, or
yeah. Because if not, I'm gonna have.
did you give them my email or anything? Give them my email.
Um, I I put their name in a when I said the winner what thing that I tagged you in yesterday.
Okay,
I put their social media tag in it as well.
I'm gonna look for it so I know because I
I'll
can't.
also reach out to them after this.
Yeah.
Tell them, hey, if you don't claim it, I'm just gonna have to give it to somebody else. And you got the small poster for $22 US and 30 Canadian.
We got 3 different posters, and we got small and large of each one. Our uh, our graphic designer, Mr. Joe Lawrence of More Sense Designs, just went crazy with poster ideas. And I was like, I love this one, and I love this one, and I love this one. We got to use them all. And actually, he had a couple other one or two other poster ideas that we didn't use. It's still kind of cool, but it was like, wow, we can't have that many posters. So, yeah. we're just using these only three posters, but the blue one with the hand, that's going to be the official poster, and it's not completed yet because there's a stock footage image in there of the hand, and we want to replace it with a real hand. And so we have a perk on the campaign for that to be your hand. You can have your hand be the hand on the poster. Pretty awesome, and you'd be credited for it as well. Just saying. It's funny, I had a couple people reach out saying, I'm going to get the hand on the poster perk, and then they got a different perk instead. It was like, oh, I thought you were getting this perk. I decided to like this perk more. They're roughly the
Okay, so
same price. So
see, I like the creepy house myself.
yeah, it is a really creepy house. I can't wait to shoot there. One thing cool about that house is it's got lights that come from the ground that light up the house at night. So we're not really going to have to worry too much about lighting when we shoot there at night. The only problem we are going to have there at all is we can't actually go on the property. The owner doesn't want us to go on their property. We wanted to have at least have the car park in the driveway or something like that. But he's like, no, you can't do it. You can shoot everything from the sidewalk. I'm like, okay, whatever. Whatever, we'll do it that way. I'm not going to change the house. That house is just too awesome. It's got to be that house. It's got to be. Just saying. DVDs, Blu-rays, all that stuff. The typical awesome perks that you can get.
Oh, and a VHS for
VHS, yeah,
those.
we're doing the VHS again. I kind of wish that one would sell more. I think we may have sold one. It says 0 on there, but I think we might have sold one on the other campaign. I think so, because we had 2 campaigns for this. I'll have to double check that. And if we don't sell any, then I just won't get them made, I guess. But the VHS.
Did you have?
What's that?
I was going to say, did you have any of the Sawyer Massacre ones left over, or did you never
For the
get those made?
VHS? For the VHS? You'd have to talk to the Skynet. It was funny, the guy who made them at Skynet Video, who I want to use with this, if we actually sell any VHS. He did a great job, and when he posted that, he sent me the social media of all the ones he sent out. I was getting my inbox flooded with, I want a VHS, I want a VHS. More so than the Blu-ray.
Them is why I ask. I collect them, so
well, there you go.
I wish I'd have cashed in on that.
It's possible, but I'd need all the information from everybody who wants a VHS. I could reach out to the guy from I can't remember his name now.
He's not just going to print one.
He's not just going to print one. They are expensive to do because VHS. He custom makes them basically. So it is more expensive to do the VHS. It's not like going through a company to do Blu-rays and get them manufactured. So Blu-rays are a little cheaper than the VHS for that reason. But what an awesome perk to have. What an awesome perk to have. So everybody who ordered a VHS got one. Apparently, the guy from Skynet was going to send me one. I never got it. I was like, oh, it's kind of a bummer. I don't know if he actually mailed it or not, but he's like, oh yeah, I'll send you one. Like, you don't have to send me one, because honestly, I'm not really a collector, but I thought it'd be a cool thing to have. I thought it would be, but
I know this makes no sense to nobody that's watching this stream. I literally have a UPS box, United Postal Service box, full of VHS tapes, still in their sleeves, and I have no VCR. Yes, I know that sounds very stupid.
Whatever, man. It's all good.
But I just refuse to part with them, damn it.
I totally get it. Like, I think I up in my attic, I have a bunch of VHS, and I think I still have the VCR, or I think it was actually the VCR DVD combo that came out in like the early 2000s. So,
God.
Which, at the time it was like, okay, if you don't want to get rid of your VHS, this is a VHS and DVD, so you still can keep your VHS, but upgrade to DVD at the same time. And
well, if you're looking to be rid of it, eBay, people are selling them for a pretty good chunk of change.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I wouldn't have thunk that. Probably because 'cause I'm not gonna use it. I'm not a collector. I am just not one of those people, so I would happily get rid of the VHS DVD player that's up in I mean, I never use it. I'm not a physical media type guy. I just I don't mind just watching everything on my phone these days. Half the stuff I watch is on my phone. I don't even go on my computer anymore. It's my phone,
It's sad.
you know?
People come to my apartment and they walk in, they go, "Wow, your place looks like a Blockbuster Video or a movie museum." And I'm like, "Yes, I know it's sad, because then I have your Bloody Apron hanging up." I had to
Oh,
post a
yeah, the
picture of
bloody
that. I
we
got
definitely
that
gave you the
hanging
bloodiest
up.
one, that's for sure.
Yeah, believe me, I know it dripped a little bit, but I had a Bloody
It was still
Apron
fresh, huh?
hang yeah,
That
got
blood
a
was still
Bloody
fresh.
Apron
Awesome.
hanging up. I got CJ Graham, autographed picture.
Did you get one
Got a
of our
bunch
meat
of other.
hooks too?
No, I
Okay.
didn't.
Oh, I thought that was you that got the meat hook, but maybe not.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I got this that I keep on my office desk. See if I can grab it fast. The good old family
Oh,
photo.
the family portrait. Only 6 of those were made, I think. We only
Yep.
sold so you've got 1 of 6, a 1 in 6 item, just so you know. That's pretty cool. It's signed by all the Sawyer Massacre the Sawyer family members in that. So that's
And
pretty cool.
I keep it right next to, oh, I got a Leatherface over there. $300 Leatherface statue. Yes, I
Oh,
know.
cool.
I'm bad with money. And then I've got the truck box set that uh they put out, I think, like 5 years ago to celebrate. I think it was like the 40th anniversary or something.
Huh.
Maybe it was 2014, but I got it on eBay fairly cheap. And it comes with a cheap apron that just says Texas Chainsaw Massacre across it. And then it's got like some lobby cards in there, the Blu-ray and different little
Cool.
things. I haven't watched it. I haven't taken anything out of the package, just sitting on my desk truck. And got Leatherface on top of it, and then I got your family photo in front of it. So it's kinda
Yeah, I
like my
thought that
little
family portrait was really cool, actually. I mean, it was almost tough to pull off, to be honest with you, because there's no scenes where all the members, the Sawyer members are in the film together. There's no scenes in the entire movie. That photo was the only time we had all 5 members together. So, it was tough to organize that, and we had to the only way we could do that was doing it on the first day of filming, and I had to get Grandpa, the actor playing Grandpa, Les Best, he had to drive all the way down from Dallas to the Austin area, not far from Austin. Taylor, Texas is where we shot that. It was still away, so it's like a 3-hour drive. He drove 3 hours just to make that photo op so that he could be in it. Scotty wasn't working that day, but he was doubling as a driver, so he was still okay. We hadn't quite got his costume right where it needed to be for the film at that point, though. So, but he stuck on the mask and he put on the costume. We just hadn't bloodied and dirtied it up as much as we would have liked. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool to have. That's the only memorabilia from our film that has all of the Sawyer family members in it together, and it's signed by each one. Only 6 of them out there, so that's a pretty cool item to have, I think. If I was a collector, that's what I would have wanted. I'm surprised we didn't sell more of those on the Indiegogo. So we sold 6.
it
I sent out 6.
I don't know if you could see it, but back behind this other computer I have is, this guy did a wood burning of the original family portrait from 1974.
Oh, cool.
I had to pull it down. It's nailed to the wall, screwed to the wall, I mean, so I had to pull it down one day and show it to you. But, he
Yeah.
did like a wood burning with it.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Carrie did ask this question. She said, "Can we have an English pounds for the Indiegogo? How much in pounds that would be, or
Oh God.
quid, or whatever it
I
is
don't know what
over
the
in jolly old
conversion
England?"
is, man. You'd have to go look on the Indiegogo and see what it says. I'd have no idea because I know it always goes by whatever
I thought it
currency
was
you're doing. What's that?
I thought it was region. I thought it was like region specific. Like if she goes
I
on
think so.
Indiegogo
Yeah.
in England, it would automatically transfer it to pound.
Yeah. But we wouldn't be able to show that on here. I mean,
No,
you could go on your phones and say, okay, uh this one here, $37 USD. So you go on good old Google here and you say 37 USD to what is English pound? What is to I think it's
uh,
GBP?
I
Yes,
think
pounds.
so.
There you go. So that one is 29 pounds. Basically, it'd be 29 pounds. It's 29.18, but I believe it'd be rounded down to 29 pounds. That particular one. So 37 USD is 29 pounds. There you go.
So it's actually cheaper in England than it is in Canada still.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's most expensive in Canada. That perk is $50 in Canadian. Holy crap. That's almost double. Just saying. Uh, but yeah, there you go. Just do that with your conversion. You do that to 37 USD to GBP, I believe. Great Britain pound. Yes, that's what that means. That's what that stands for. GBP. Now I know. Yeah, I'm used to doing that with doing the conversion from Canadian to US because I've been doing. I had to do that quite a lot over the last little bit doing these Indiegogos to see what the difference would be. Because people ask me, how much is this going to be in, if you give me a deal on this on this certain perk or whatever, or you put a pile of them together, how much would it be in US? So I'm like, okay, I figure it'll be this much in Canadian. So I do that conversion on my phone, and it's that simple.
The hardest conversion for me has always been Japanese money, the yen,
Oh God, I don't want
because
to
it's
think
like
about that.
50,000 yen. I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. And then when you convert it over to US, it's like, well, it's not that bad. But it's just
I don't
sound
think I've had a single supporter from Japan. I don't think so. I don't think I've had a single Indiegogo contribution from Japan. Not
we
that I
gotta
know of
change
anyways.
that.
Yeah, why don't those Japanese people like me, huh? I think I think I had somebody from Korea as a supporter. I think that's the only real Asian market. Or no, I had a Philippines because my wife is Filipino, so I think we did have a couple of Filipino supporters, but that's about it from Asia. Yeah, a lot
Well,
of
I live in
European stuff.
Hawaii. Maybe me living in Hawaii, I need to start tapping into the Japanese and Asian community right here, help you out
There you
some.
go.
So
Oh
let's see,
man,
you got director's thanks, 37.
yeah, I got lots of perks here. More poster, like going through the posters is kind of a pain, but you see all these posters again: large posters, small posters,
Now we're
T-shirts.
getting T-shirts.
Yeah, I like the T-shirt design. I'm surprised we haven't sold more of those. Creepy, customized voiceover from Adam, doing the voice of our antagonist in the movie. Had a couple people get that. And these prints, these are prints that Margot Wex, the painter of this Amy and Anguish painting, that's going to be featured pretty heavily in our movie. She actually did a painting of the actress playing Amy in the movie, who's actually only going to be on set for one day. This actress is going to be on set for one day. I keep saying to her, the painting is going to be featured more than you you are actually going to be in the movie. But she posed. I asked her to pose a certain way for this painting. We took a number of photos, and we found the right one that was just perfect for this painting. And
I like
that's
her art style, very abstract. I
oh,
kinda like it.
Margot is great. Margot Wex is awesome. So yeah, go check her out. I'm surprised these prints aren't selling. I'm honestly surprised. They're really cheap. They're 8x10 prints, so it's not the original. We do have the original for sale on here though as well. That one's a little pricey though, so maybe I need to bring the price down on it. I'd like to sell it. It'd be nice to sell the original. I have the original up in my closet, actually, just up there, all wrapped up, so it's not getting hurt or anything. And we got all the headshots of our cast, so lots of good headshots. I probably have more headshots I should be adding, but try not to overload the campaign with perks. Hope to sell out some of these perks.
Was Trinity in Disorder?
No. This is
Ah.
Trinity's first acting gig.
Oh, she looked familiar. I thought there's Angel. Of course, we all know Angel. I guess we all know her. I do. Crystal Gorski.
Bill D. Russell.
I like Bill. Bill's cool.
Bill is cool. Bill's cool. A lot of popular people in the indie film world. So screen use props. Hey, we have some pretty cool props in this movie. I'll say that. So anybody wants a cool prop, we've got them. Fairly good deal. Was it $74? So pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Wagner, Leatherface himself from the 2003 remake, so you can get his headshot. Felissa Rose headshot. Lots of cool perks, man. Probably too many. I don't know. You can get your name on the poster. You can feed the cast and crew.
I'm sorry, I had to go back to Brett. Why did that just... I'm a bad horror movie fan. I knew he played Leatherface, and I've been looking at your Indiegogo for months and never put two and two together.
You never realized who that was?
I apologize, Brett. I'm getting old. My mind's going bad on me. That's my excuse.
And it's funny, he was one of the first people to reach out to me after the Sawyer Massacre came out and said, "I want to be in your next movie." That was a huge compliment. Thank you, Brett.
I need to reach out.
Awesome.
I need to reach out to him and see if I can get him on my channel.
Probably will. I mean, he's a regular on John Henderson's podcast, Doomsday's Crypt. So he'd probably be willing to come on your show.
I'm friends with him on social media.
Oh, me too. I mean, geez, I've been on the show with them before. We had Trinity on when we first started crowdfunding this. We had Trinity come on with me and Brett and John. It was great. It's cool because Brett is actually playing Trinity's father in the movie. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
And then we have the beautiful Felissa Rose.
Yeah, Felissa Rose. You can get her headshot.
I don't think we can really call her a scream queen, can we? She was more of the slasher villain.
Yeah, I don't know. She's been in so many movies now, though. Maybe you could call her a scream queen.
Yeah, I guess you could now. She kind of balances on both sides of the fence. She's a villain and a protagonist, let's just say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Poster child.
Get your name on it. Get the name on the poster. You can get your name on the poster, or you get the more expensive one is getting your business logo on the poster.
I will say this right here is the most important perk right here, because if you don't feed a crew good, they are not going to act good.
Exactly. Gotta have good food on set. Yes.
Not just ham sandwiches and
I really hope the caterer's not going to back out on me. I doubt it though. I'll try to be extra prepared if that happens. But yeah,
call me. I know how to cook a little bit. I'll cook some Southern food for y'all.
There you go. Logo on poster. So that's the poster boy. Who's a poster boy? So poster child and poster boy. Yeah. Just to get your logo on the poster. Yeah, we've had a couple people get that one. Equipment rental sponsor. I think
that's important.
That. Yeah, we need to rent equipment. Gore sponsors. We had a couple of that. Mind you, again, it's not really gore; it's SFX. I don't know if our movie really qualifies as gore. But we do have one particular effect that is expensive. Expensive. I won't tell you what it is. It's really cool. It's really cool, but it's not cheap. It's this one thing alone is probably more expensive than anything we did on Sawyer Massacre, but it's really awesome.
Now,
Really
I
awesome.
did this one for Sawyer Massacre back in the day. I put the logo in the opening credits,
There you go.
and to be
Yeah,
fair, it really did help with, getting more followers and stuff for my YouTube channel, so
that's good.
it
I'm
pays
glad
for
it did.
itself.
Yeah, I think your logo was the first one to show up, the animated logo. I think that's the first
Mhm.
thing that shows up in the Sawyer Massacre, so that's pretty cool. Get your hand on the
Your hand
poster. That can be your that's one person can get that only. If nobody gets that perk, it's gonna be my hand, or it'll be Joe's hand. Joe the graphic designer's hand. Uh,
or or put Scotty's in it. That big old,
yeah,
meat that big
that'll be
old
his
ham
only
sandwich of a
cameo.
hand. Yeah, his big old ham sandwich hand is. I still get tickled at that story of him getting pulled over by the cop in the
I love that.
Leatherface gear.
Oh, that was great. It was classic. Murder prop,
Murder.
we did sell one on the first campaign of the murder prop. We don't have a lot of murder weapons in this, but we have 2, and we sold 1. So, still 1 available.
So this is the actual original
That's
painting.
the actual original painting, so that in US dollars, what's that, 371? I think it's
Mhm.
500 Canadian. I might bring that price down a little bit. I don't know. I think I'm considering it's an original painting. That's the screen used painting. I thought I should have been listing it for more than that, to be honest with you. I mean, we sold the chainsaw from Sawyer Massacre for something like $700 or $800. So, but again, that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So maybe that's why.
Well, if I can be inclined to kinda play a car salesman here, think about it like this, guys. This is an independent horror movie. We all know this, but most great horror movies all started out as independents. Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Child's
Yep,
Play, any of our most beloved franchises all at one time started out as an indie film. So what if
for sure.
Steve's film takes off and becomes another horror franchise?
You never
And you
know.
own this painting. Then you own a piece of movie history that you paid $371 for initially. Later on down the line, if his movie franchise or this movie just takes off, becomes a cult classic, doubles in price. Just saying. Just saying.
Just saying. Exactly. You never know. You never know. We got hopes for this movie. I don't know if this movie would become a franchise, though. I'll say that because
Well, a
we
cult
don't have.
classic.
Yeah, I hope that it could be a really good one-off, like the original Black Christmas was, or whatever. Um, yeah, because I don't think we don't have a horror icon like Jason or Michael Myers. I think we have a really cool character that we never see, but the more movies you make about this character, the more you're going to demystify him. It's going to be hard to not demystify him after making sequel after sequel, sort of thing.
Yeah. Then you're going to
So
have to kill him and make him a zombie and bring him back. And
yeah,
then he becomes a.
exactly, and then it's not just that's just not what is intended with this person, right? So with this character, so I wouldn't want to do that. I just want to make this a one off, and move on to the next one. I don't know. I like these. I just like psychological films. I'm not really looking to create the next horror icon. Um, but I'll never say never. I mean, it's possible I'll create a horror icon, but you know, that's not my focus, though. That's for sure. I just want to make a good movie.
You know what? Just as we're talking about making movies, I hope someday, because you're from that BC area, I would love to see you tackle the pig farmer serial killer.
Oh, Picton.
Yep,
Ooh,
Carl Picton.
is it Carl Picton?
I think, or
I
Car
can't.
something Picton. I
Yeah,
don't.
it's Picton.
Maybe I
Yeah,
was. But I
I'm
would
trying
love
to.
to see you tackle that.
Oh God, I'm gonna Google that now. Is it Carl? I thought it was something different than Carl. You know, I hate
Mate.
this now. Now that I got my phone, and I'm like, I just Google something. Picton. No, not Piction. Picton.
Robert Picton.
Is it Robert Picton?
My
That sounds
yeah, my bad. My bad. Yep, it was Robert Picton.
okay. There we go.
But
Robert
I would
Picton.
love to see you tackle that. That's
That's definitely
psychological.
that's definitely something I could see myself doing. Yeah, Canadian serial killer Robert Picton. And here's something kind of here's a little something that not a lot of people know. When I was in the early stages of the Sawyer Massacre, it wasn't called the Sawyer Massacre. When I was doing my sort of new draft on it, because I had originally did first annual barbecue, my short, but I kind of started reworking the script into the Sawyer Massacre, but it wasn't called the Sawyer Massacre, and it was I wanted to make it something close to Picton, and I believe it was Pickford. It was the Pickford House Massacre, is what I was calling it. Now, this was at the time that I wasn't sure if I was going to make it a fan film or not. Or, I was kind of debating whether this should be Texas Chainsaw Massacre or not. But there's just so many great connections to Texas Chainsaw Massacre that I felt like I had to. And then, of course, when John Dugan did the voiceover in our trailer, it's like, okay, now I have to. This has to be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan film. You got John Dugan doing Grandpa, talking as Grandpa for the first time. It has to be. It has, And so we changed the title to the Sawyer Massacre. But yeah, it was originally called I think it was called the Old Pickford House Massacre. Yeah, and it was Pickford came from Picton. I just didn't want to be direct, take it directly, but it was basically inspired by Picton. So not a lot of people know that, but if you go on the Sawyer Massacre Facebook page, not the group, but the page, you can scroll into our pictures, and the very first photo we ever did was of the house that we had here in Canada, and I believe it does say the Old Pickford House Massacre on it. The very first bit of media that we ever released for the Sawyer Massacre on Facebook says the Old Pickford House Massacre. Something that's something I've really talked about before. So that's kind of, yeah,
I
new
just think
info
you'd be
for y'all.
perfect for it, man, because you're from that area and clearly people around there. It would be easier for you to network with those that had when you go to do the research, you would be able to
Yeah.
get to those people that were involved in that case a lot easier to actually get the nuances of the ins and outs of the whole thing, or even do it
Yeah,
like a documentary about it.
I could see it.
Bec
There's potential. I'll definitely say there's a good possibility I could explore that. Definitely a
because
good
that's the thing,
possibility.
everybody romanticizes well, not necessarily romanticizes, that's the wrong word, but they use Ed Gein to death.
Yeah,
And though what Ed Gein did was terrible, and even with Jeffrey Dahmer, terrible. But Robert Picton,
yeah,
whoa. If you go and read that case, holy shit.
yeah. There's some messed up stuff there. There's a I've heard some different rumors about different things, but yeah, it's something I'd like to do my research on. And if I would research the heck out of that thing. And if a movie idea came from it, I'd go for it. I'd write a script. But I'm the kind of guy,
You
I gotta research it to death. I gotta go crazy on the research.
and Brett would be probably perfect for that role. He would have to slim up probably a little bit because I don't know how big Robert Picton was, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I have to look at pictures of it. I remember seeing one short little clip of him, like when he was in court, and man, he looked creepy. He was definitely a creepy looking dude. Um, so yeah, he's definitely pretty messed up.
I
But
think
yeah,
the whole family was messed up, to tell you the truth, I believe was the story.
probably,
I don't know. I
probably.
just always found that case fascinating, and how nobody has ever tried to make an actual documentary style film
Yeah,
about it.
I could see it coming though. I could see it happening. Yeah.
Beat 'em to the punch, Steve.
Well, we'll try. I gotta focus on the unseen here first.
I
I
know.
gotta I gotta
We'll
make
get
this
this
damn
done
movie first.
first. But after this one, then we'll Pigden. Everybody,
Exactly.
thumbs up Pigden.
Thumbs up,
Hashtag
Picton.
Pigden.
Exactly.
Hashtag pig farmer.
Do a lot of people in the U.S. know of that case? Is that well known in the U.S., or are you like just somebody that has researched this kind of
Among
stuff?
Well, I don't judge me, people, but I have a dictionary of serial killers,
Oh yeah.
and
No
I
judgment
love
here.
I love true crime. I love true crime, and I don't read it to fantasize about what they did. It's my thing is a lot like you with Unseen or any of these mental movies. What fascinates me is how somebody can go such a dark path as to do the things that they do to another human being. I
Yeah.
don't comprehend it. I don't understand it, and therefore it makes me not necessarily. I don't know if I ever really want to understand it, but I kind of
You
want
don't
to.
want to, but we almost kind of feel like we have to because we don't want to become that person, right? We
Yeah.
want, if we know it's possible, it makes us more aware, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I enjoy, listening to how police conduct their investigations. That's where I kind of enjoy it from that standpoint of
Yeah.
how they put all the clues together and manage to actually catch the actual killer,
Yeah.
because that fascinates me. It's like, wow, I would have never thought to do it that way or this way. That just, I
Totally
don't know.
makes sense.
But it's just the
Yeah.
mental aspect of the whole thing of how somebody can just be
Yeah.
so far gone and so detached from reality just to commit those kinds of things on another human being.
I hear you.
And
Yeah. It's
and if none of y'all have ever read anything about Robert Pigden, it's not for the squeamish. I will go ahead and put that out there. It's not for the squeamish.
definitely
But
not.
if you like true crime, it's right up there.
Yeah.
Now, it's not like on the levels of Ed Gein walking to a house and he had cereal bowls made out of skulls and
Yeah.
lamp lamp or shade pullers made out of human lips, but it's
Yeah.
still pretty messed up
Oh
nonetheless.
yeah.
So we have your get up here, the IMDb associate producer.
There you go. Yeah, and credits for that one. So I think we sold out of all the strictly IMDb ones. We still have
Mhm.
one of these ones left. We sold one the other day, and we still have that one left. And I think pretty much all of our executive producer ones are still available to some degree. Not many, but not many of
There's
each.
not
But
much there's not that big of a difference between the associate and the executive.
well,
Come
because
on, people.
that executive is strictly IMDb. See, I did different tiers because I was. It's funny, you know what? I almost thought of not doing the different tiers for this one because when we did the Sawyer Massacre, I offered those different tiers for the Sawyer Massacre because people were reaching out to me, were saying, "Why can't they just buy an IMDb one for cheaper?" I thought, okay, I'll do that for you. I'll just the IMDb credit for those who can't afford the full on producer, the associate producer or executive producer. They just want the IMDb credit, So I did that, and it's funny. A bunch of people got that lower tier and would reach out to me after the Sawyer Massacre came out and said, "How come I wasn't listed in as an associate producer in the credits at all?" Like, because you only got that tier, And so, I don't think people read each tier properly, and I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't do it that way this time, but I still did. We'll see what
I
happens. I'm gonna try to make it clear to everybody. It wasn't like a lot of people that got it, but it was enough to be like, okay, you should have probably read the perk a little bit better. And I think I offered, I offered each one a discount on any perk on this campaign just to make them happy, and I think one person took it, the other one didn't. I don't know. I don't know if they're just pissed at me, but they could have been. I don't know. It's read the perks. It says it right on the perk. I mean, that's why we have. You're not going to have 6 different producer perks unless there's a reason, right? Unless there's different tiers, because we only got associate producer and executive producer.
So here's the thing. I mean, I get it. Everybody wants to see their name at the end credits. That's kind of a dream. You want to see your name up in the
I get that
lights
too.
and
I
all that.
totally get that.
But at the same time, an IMDb credit, it's still an IMDb credit. You
It
can't
is.
alter
Yep.
IMDb without having to pay a good fee to actually be able to go into IMDb Pro. Now, if you want to forge your name into credits, good luck, because the lawsuit that's going to come from that your way is going to be more than you bargained for. But with that
Exactly.
said, an IMDb credit is still an IMDb credit. And I have
It is.
gotten,
Yeah.
because I have been associated with you and 9 other films, just strictly through IMDb, I get emails all the time where people are sending me scripts.
Oh, wow.
Literally, no shit. I get people sending me scripts. I got one not too long ago about a romantic comedy, and I hate romantic comedies, but I didn't tell this person this, but I didn't want to read it. So I just kind of wrote back to her and said, I, it's not my thing. I stick strictly to horror, but I do appreciate you reaching out, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
But
I get you.
I,
I get you.
I've even had people send me screeners
Oh, really?
and different things like that. So look, you pay for that $519, to get an associate producer credit. You'd be astonished that if you get your name and email on IMDb, how many people start hitting up your inbox and your email. Believe me, I get it all the time.
Yep.
I had
I
people
hear you.
even when you were in pre-production for Sawyer Massacre, I would have people email me, "Oh, my name is so and so, and I work for this company right here, and I see that you're a associate producer and a company sponsor with the Sawyer Massacre. Um, we would really like to sponsor your film." And I'm like, "Well, I hate to say this is not my film. This is my friend Steve Merlo's film, so you would have to talk to him." I've gotten that many times.
Yeah. That's cool, though. That's pretty cool. I don't remember them
So
reaching out to me then. Did you give them my email address saying, "Can I
yeah,
sponsor?"
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I don't
I
know, maybe
gave
they
it to
did, I
him.
don't know. We did have a fair amount of sponsors for Sorry Massacre, so maybe they did. I just don't know who it is. We've had so many. We
It's
don't
like,
have as
hey,
many sponsors for this film, though, but we've got a few.
we can change that. I
You
told you,
never know, good.
reach out
To
to
who?
Fright Rags, that
Yeah?
horror merch apparel company. See if they'll help you out, because
Maybe.
they do sponsor movies. They do have, like,
Hmm,
I think it's called, like, Fright Rags Movies. I think they have, like, a subdivision of their company.
interesting. I might have to,
Reach
yeah, have to reach out to them.
I'll send you the stuff,
Yeah.
because I kind of was researching it the other day, just trying to see, and come to find out they've actually made movies. So,
Oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. So there you go. That's
this-
pretty much all the perks, I guess. All
and
the
then Supreme Associate.
yeah, all the those are the high end ones. So I hope with words like supreme, you get that what you're getting for it. That's a bigger one, right? you know, and
That
credits
gives you that
executive.
gives you that big dick energy, that Supreme Executive.
Exactly. Oh
In
man.
end critic executive.
End credits. So you get end credits and IMDb, and then the supreme executive. So and
That just makes you
yeah.
sound like a CEO.
And there's our big one, the executive sponsor. So you get executive producer and full sponsorship in the movie with your opening. an animated logo in the opening credits, and you get your logo somewhere in the film, and you get executive producer, you get the single card executive producer, but only one of those available. So it's a little pricey though. So I don't know if we'll sell it.
I
It'd be pretty awesome if we could sell it, but yeah.
If you don't get that one sold off, I'm gonna talk to my boss at Run. Well, I work as a mechanic, and his business was strictly here in Hawaii,
Oh yeah,
but 6 months ago he started expanding onto the mainland. So now he's got a shop in Memphis, he's got a shop in Arizona, California, Las Vegas. So he's trying to get the word of mouth out there and trying to expand his business out.
that's
So
pretty
I'm gonna
cool.
talk to him and say, "Hey, you want to put the company as a sponsor for this film?"
Hey, I
And
think it's money. Hey, I think it's, at 30 what, 700 there. It's expensive, but for to be in a feature length film, to have your sponsorship in a feature length film that we're already talking with distribution and stuff for, that's a pretty good deal, I think. For all that stuff, you
I
get
mean,
your name, single card credit. You get your production company listed, or your business, whatever, listed in the end credits as well. It's got all the bells and whistles. Yeah,
yeah, it'll be
that will,
Tech Motive
and we, yeah,
Automotive.
there you go.
Tech Motive Automotive presents Unseen.
There you go. Hey, why not
Hey,
though? What
yeah. I mean, I'll talk to him and see, be like, because
doesn't hurt?
it's just, I mean, it's just a tax write off to him at this point because he's got investors from Silicon Valley. So
Oh wow.
Uh, funny story, when me and him started working together, I retired from the Army, came to work for him afterwards. Dude, we were working out the back of an old Ford van with barely any tools, barely this, that, and the other. I was making little to no money coming out the Army, but luckily I was getting my retirement, so that offset it.
Yeah.
And 8 years has went by, and in that 8 years, we went from working out the back of a van to now having two locations in Hawaii and then on 5 locations on the mainland and over probably 70, almost 60 or 70 employees. And
Wow.
I was his original hire, and now I'm making $30 an hour, and I started out with him, I was making 14.
Wow.
So so
There you go.
talked to him like, "Hey, Steve, you wanna sponsor a movie?"
What's his name? Steve? We got something in
Yep.
common. He's gonna love me. He's
Yeah.
gonna
His name's Steve Davis, yours is Steve Merlo.
Hey, there you go. With both 5-letter last names then too. There you go. We've got
Hey,
more than one thing in common. We've got the same amount of letters in our names.
it's exposure.
Am I grasping at straws here? Yeah, who knows? We'll see. And then those are ones that sold out. Yeah, so you can't get those ones anymore. Sorry, folks.
Yep. Too bad, so
But
sad, you should have been quicker on the draw. I'm just being mean, I'm
okay,
sorry.
but yeah, thanks for sharing the Indiegogo there. And again, we got the link in the comments in the description and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, go there, pop over. You know, send a few bucks our way if you can. Go to production in less than 2 months, and I just let's get that production budget up as much as we can. It's not cheap, that's for sure. Definitely not cheap to make a movie. Hey, there's Eduardo. Hey, Eduardo.
He
Proper
was,
call for
one
that
of
movie.
he was one of the winners, I think.
Yes, that's right.
Steve said he needs you to reach out to him so he can get your name on there for
Well,
the
I know
queue.
Eduardo. Definitely.
Okay.
He's already won something. He's going to get his logo on our poster too. So he won something in a contest I had on my channel. So I know Eduardo, but all the other people, I don't think I don't know. I don't think I know.
Was he the one that
So
was he the one that when we did that trivia that day, he was just kicking all of our asses?
probably I don't know. I
I
can't
remember
remember all these
playing it.
trivias now. I've done so
I
many of
remember,
them. I can never remember who's winning all of
dude,
them. But yeah,
that got to the point where it was just laughable. I just got to where I was like, man, I'm just gonna quit answering. This guy's like the walking Bible for horror movies.
I think Eduardo's a bit of a filmmaker himself. I haven't seen anything he's done, but I've like we're friends on Facebook, and I know he's got some cool gear. Eduardo, come work on our film. I know you're in Canada somewhere, but I don't think you're probably nowhere near where I am. I'm way
Yeah,
in the West Coast, and you're like probably in Toronto or something. But yeah,
and then
hey,
when he gets done with
I'll be up.
Unseen, make sure he makes that Robert Pigden movie.
There you go. Get on me for that.
If you need me to, I'll
Uh,
play Robert Pigden. I'll try
there
anyway.
you go. I don't think you look creepy enough, John. You got too much nice guy written all over you.
Oh, I can be an asshole. You just got to burn the fuse down enough to get me there.
I don't know. I keep asking people if I'm an asshole, but I get the same response every time. They say, "No, Steve, you're not an asshole, but you sure smell like one." So,
Well,
uh,
in the Army, you had to have a switch. And because when you were a non-commissioned officer or sergeant, you had to have that switch, that kind, gentle, which I tend to want to be all the
yeah,
time. But then you kind of sometimes had to put on that facade of being a dick because some people, that's the only way you can get through to them is being a dick. And I
I
hated
get you.
that. I hated it, but it was a necessary evil.
Got to do
So,
what you got to do.
yeah, especially if somebody's shooting at me and you're being a jackass, then yeah, I'm gonna probably punch in your face.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, he says he's in Toronto. Holy shnikes. That's
Yeah,
a good
that's
little road
far.
trip.
You want to drive all the way here and help us out on our film? Probably not. I
Hey,
understand. That's all good.
I'm gonna poke the bear real quick. How about them Canucks this year, huh? Huh? Huh?
Well,
How
they've
about
been
them
doing
Canucks?
good up until recently. Didn't
Yep.
they
Don't
just
don't
lose the
ruin
last 4 freaking games in a row? Like, and they should have won all of them.
why are you
Was it 4 games or
why,
5 games now? I don't even know now. Like, what
say
is
Steve,
this
yeah,
like?
you had to go and ruin my shit talking.
Let me see how many they lost. I have the
They
NHL
lost
app
four
on
in a
my
row.
phone. Is it 4 in a
They,
row?
yeah, they lost four in a row.
4 for yeah. Oh, okay, they played Boston tonight and they won in an OT. So the losing skid is over. The losing skid is over. Thank God. They won. They won tonight. You guys probably can't see that at all. Oh, there we
Yeah,
go.
they actually
Canucks and
yeah, they
Bruins.
beat and you know what's the bad thing? They beat the best team in the league tonight, but all the other sorry teams they
Yeah,
lost to, they
that's
couldn't
right.
beat.
Like Boston's right up there with the Canucks, and then they lost to who did they lose to? Like Seattle. Yeah, let me go back here. Oh, it won't let me go back any further than that. Oh, whatever. But I think they lost to Seattle. They lost to Winnipeg. I know Winnipeg's not bad, so I was like, okay with them losing to Winnipeg. But then after that, they lost to Seattle. They lost to another crappy team. Jeez, I can't even remember. Oh, the
This look
old
familiar?
school. Yeah, I'm partial to the '90s look that they had the skate with the Canucks through the middle. I love that. I love that one. But that was when I
I've got
became a Canucks fan, though, too. So
I got that in here too.
the black and
I collect
gold.
yep, somewhere. I'd had to dig for it, show it to you, but yeah, I've got the
All
plate of
good.
spaghetti jersey.
There you
That's what
go.
I've heard that's what I've heard that you all in Canada call it, is the plate of spaghetti jersey, the fly and skate. But I've got a old one. I'm
I've
looking
actually
for
never
that.
heard that before. I don't know, the plate of
That
spaghetti. I could
that's some
see
of my
that totally makes sense to me, though. That definitely makes sense to me, the plate of spaghetti. I definitely get that. But,
some of
that's the first
my
I've heard of it.
some of my fellow Canuck fans that I'm friends with on social media, that's what they referred to it as, and they're from Canada. So I just went with
Yeah.
it. It's like, okay, plate of spaghetti. That's what it is.
I'm gonna start calling it that now. I'll tell you that. I never heard that before, but it makes sense now that I look at that. Well, think about it in my head anyways. I'm not seeing it right now, but yeah, makes
The
sense. I love
jersey,
the skate. I love that skate. I think
the
it's awesome.
jersey, the jersey I'm looking for is the old flying V from back in
The
the
old
'80s.
V. Yeah.
That hideous, ugly, disgusting flying V jersey. God, I love that thing. It was so
It's ugly,
disgusting.
but we love it. Yeah, I know what you
And
mean.
of course,
Yeah.
this one has old Johnny Canuck on the sleeve
Oh, there you
with the
go. Yeah.
V.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
like
it's
Adidas. I don't like Adidas jerseys. I still buy
oh,
all
no?
Reebok.
Oh, there you go.
Adidas just don't fit as good. The Reeboks were made better, I feel. But yeah, I
There
was
you go.
always partial to the stick and rink. I don't know.
Hmm, yeah, there you
That was
go.
their original logo when they were founded. So
That's true, that is that. Yeah. How we get on this topic of the Canucks all of a sudden? How did that happen?
oh,
We're talking horror movies, and
y-
now we're talking hockey. Well, you
because
know.
I was trying to shit talk Ed about the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, the old Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto. Um, I mean, I guess the one thing the Toronto Maple Leafs have, on us Canucks is that they've at least won a cup.
Yeah,
Mind you,
several,
the last time they won was
several.
before the Canucks were even a team, though, so it's, yeah. So, I don't know how you say it. Sure, they've won a
Well,
cup, but it's been so long now that, you know, I don't know.
if it makes you feel better, Ed, I do have a Mitch Marner Leafs jersey in my closet. I'm the only person in Hawaii that'll actually wear hockey jerseys, and the looks I get, people, the locals around here look at me like, "What kind of sports jersey is that?" No, that's NHL. They never like LA, like LA, the LA Knights, or not Knights, but LA Kings and the
Kings.
Vegas Knights. They kind of
Yeah.
know who that is, but most of the
Huh.
other teams, unless you're in a big market like Detroit or the New York Rangers.
Yeah.
I've wore my Canucks jersey out, and they couldn't figure out for the life of them what that symbol was on the front of them. I said, "Hockey stick, ice rink, and a C for Canuck."
It's
It's
all
like, have
good.
you ever
It's
heard
all
of
good.
you ever heard of Tiger Williams, Pavel Bury? No? The Sedines? No? Well, shit.
Well, that's too bad.
You missed out. No, I
There you
love
go.
hockey. Have since I was a little kid. It's my
Yeah.
uncle's fault. He got me hooked on watching Wayne Gretzky when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, kinda reminds me of the '80s too, Wayne Gretzky was huge when I was getting into hockey, and my dad absolutely hated the Oilers. So, we grew up thinking, "Oh, this Wayne Gretzky guy's an icon," but my dad hated the Oilers and everything, but my older brother he always stuck by the Oilers. Oilers are my team. So, he loves the Oilers, I'm a Canucks fan, and my dad is a Red Wings fan. So, there you go.
Tell it, tell him that's traitor.
I
Traitor.
know. They're not even a Canadian team, damn it, but they are Original 6, though, so I guess that's okay for that sake.
Well, they are a historical team like the Montreal Canadiens, so
Yeah, yeah.
that's what it is. I used to hate the Red Wings with a passion, especially back when they were winning all the time. God, I hated them.
Oh, Stevie Yzerman was pretty awesome, though. He was,
Love their
definitely the heart and
logo.
soul of yeah. Oh, yeah. It is a great logo, yeah, I'll give 'em that, and it's Canucks keep changing their logos over the years. How many logos have the Canucks had over the years? Red Wings will always be the same logo, you know that, but
Well, I think the Canucks are getting ready to go back to that fly and skate because they're slowly starting to do more with it. And
I
I
like
wish
it,
they
man.
would.
And again, the '94 playoffs when they had that look to me was that was the playoffs I'll always remember, even though they lost. They lost by 1 goal. They lost by 1 damn goal in game 7.
Well, it's
But,
like the 2011 finals. They were up 3 games to
yeah,
none on
the
Boston.
2 games to none. They weren't
Yeah,
up 3 games
and
to none. They were up 2 games to none, and then they went to Boston, and it was tied 2-2 after that, and then Canucks were up 3-2 when they went back to Vancouver, and then Boston won game 6, and then game 7 was like a blowout. Boston just killed them in the Blackhawks, man. Oh, Amy, ugh, don't like Blackhawks, but
the most
uh,
popular sucky team in the NHL. I kid, Amy, I kid. I love you.
They're not good this year. I can tell you that. This is not a good year to be a Blackhawks fan. I'll tell you that much. They've had some good years, but this is not one of them.
I do kind of pull from my home state team because I'm from North Carolina and the Hurricanes, so I do show love to them. I got a bunch of their
There you
stuff.
go. They've at least won a
They're
Stanley Cup, right?
yeah, but people
One.
forget they used to be the lowly Hartford Whalers.
Oh yeah. Now talk about an ugly hockey jersey. You know, a terrible logo. The old Hartford Whalers. No.
They do a Whalers night. I used to go to a
Yeah.
Canuck game, Canes games, and if you went one particular night every year, I think it was like the anniversary of when they became the Hurricanes, they would wear
Okay.
throwbacks to the Hartford Whalers. And God, they were
Interesting.
so ugly, but damn, they were beautiful. It's like an ugly baby. You stare at it long enough, it ends up being cute.
It was kind of like the worst green and yellow mix that just really didn't work. And it wasn't a good green. It was just a really nasty, like lime green or something. Like, I don't know. It's really ugly. It's really bad. But anyways,
Mm.
enough about hockey. Unseen's coming to you soon. We're filming it this spring, April and a little bit of May. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a lot
You're
of work,
going
but it's
you're
gonna be
going
a
to
good
get
time.
more than 9 days to film it. I take it.
I hope so. But again, I'm looking at certain things. I've got it set in my schedule right now for 12 days, which is still less than I would like. I mean, I'd love to have like 20 days. Man, I love it. Love it. But we've got it set for 12 at this time. But could that change? Possibly. We'll see. I don't want to do it though. I really don't want to budge on the 12 days. Please
Oh,
don't make me
believe me.
budge on the 12 days. So support our Indiegogo, and if we can at least, so it's what, at 8,000, almost 9,000. We can get it up to like 10,000 US before we start filming. I will guarantee 12 days of filming. I'll get, and the thing, and I know some of you probably don't care. Oh, you film it in 9 days, you film it in 12 days, you film it in 20 days. And you think, who cares? Well, you should care because the quality is going to be better. We're not going to be rushing to get the shots done. That was one of the areas with the Sawyer Massacre that you can tell it suffers a little bit, that because we had to rush all the shots and we couldn't get every single shot that we wanted to get. So it's a little patchy and stuff like that. So anybody that thinks that, oh, it doesn't matter how many days you shoot in, it does. I saw that one of these Indiegogo films, I can't remember which one, it said on their IMDb, this movie was shot in 4 days. I was like, what? Didn't these guys, and these guys raised something like $75,000 for their movie, like way more than I raised, and they shot it in 4 days. And I thought to myself, why? Is why would you do that? Somebody must have taken some money off of that. I think, yeah, I don't know, if you shot it in 4 days, that's not cool. And you see the reviews for the film are terrible. It had terrible reviews, and it makes you wonder where that money went. When people donate money to an Indiegogo campaign, you got to give them the best quality you can give them. It's not about putting money in your own pocket. I'm not saying that that's what these people did. Maybe they had extreme situations that made that. I can't even remember who it was, but I remember reading that on one of the Indiegogo backed films that raised quite a lot of money, and it said they shot it in 4 days. And you see how terrible the reviews are, and it's like, well, that's what you're going to get if you shoot a movie in 4 days. It's nothing to brag about. I'll tell you that. Don't brag about it. I don't feel like I brag about the Sawyer Massacre being shot in 9 days. I feel like I wish I could have had more. But
It
we only had
still
so much we could have done.
it's
It
an
was an
accomplishment,
accomplishment.
though.
I'm proud that we were able to do it. But at the same time, I remember when we were in pre-production, about the same stage I am right now, I think the schedule was saying 14 days. We're going to shoot it in 14 days, and then it went down to 12 because we're just, we're losing a lot of key things that we needed. So it went down to 12, and then it's like, okay, it before we went into production, it had to go down to 10. Um, just again, it was due to expenses. We had more expenses than we had initially thought, so we had to cut it down to 12 to 10, and then we lost a day shooting because of bad weather. So it ended up being 9. It was like, how the hell did we pull that off in 9 days? But at the same time, man, if I had double, I just know I could have made that movie way better. So it does make a difference, and you have to have money to shoot more days. You have to have more money because you got to pay everybody on set. You got to have more rentals, more days of renting gear. It's absolutely necessary, so I can't stress that enough. I want at least the 12 days on this film. This film is not going to be as hectic as Sawyer Massacre because it's not being shot out in rural lands and old abandoned houses and stuff like that. So we have that going for us. It's in much more controlled environments, but still, even the 12 days, it's like, I feel like we'd barely get what we want out of the 12 days. If I really want to make it look like my style of filmmaking, we need that. There's definitely a lot of shots that I want to get some very, very cool looks for. They're going to be shots that need to be skillfully done because, they're not easy shots to do.
Oh, well,
Anyways,
like I said earlier in the show, you know, you did it in 9 days. Your back was against the wall. You gathered great, great experience and knowledge from that.
definitely.
And it also showed that you were a great leader.
I hope it did. To a point though, I will say this: a lot of the crew members stepped up, and I think this was Sawyer Massacre was a movie that could have fallen apart if certain people in the crew didn't step up, because I alone wasn't going to be able to lead it to complete victory. It had to have good people that were like, we got to make sure this gets through. So not that to say that I wasn't a great leader, because I think I was, but hats off to a lot of the crew members that really stood up, and there's too many to name, so I'm not going to try to name all the great people that just really came together and kept things organized to the point where we were able to make it work.
Well, I'll tell you, like something was told to me once in the army, and a great leader is not judged off of the orders they give. They're judged off of the respect that they have from their men and women who believe in them enough to believe in the mission to see it through. So that's what
Exactly.
defines a great leader.
I couldn't agree with that more. Awesome. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Yep, ain't about giving orders, man. It's about having the people's respect and believing in you and
Damn right.
what you got going on. Because
Exactly.
I read the vlogs and stuff that you were putting out. It was like you could sense like nervousness, like shit. I'm here. Drivers didn't show up. Car rentals weren't taken
Oh
care
man.
of. Food screwed. Special effects is in shambles.
We made it work. It's not
And
a
now look,
perfect movie, and I'm never gonna say, "Hey, man, this is a masterpiece." I'll never be that guy, but you know, I hope that people can watch the movie and say, "Hey, there's actually something. There's something good. There's some good stuff there." And it's not going to be for everybody. It's funny, like Leatherface is a character that has is a character that everybody has a different interpretation of the character, I think. And I went a route that was definitely more like the original intention of the character, and I think that's kind of been lost in a lot of the sequels and remakes and whatever. Uh, so I mean, I think a lot of people just don't see Leatherface the same way I see Leatherface. So a lot of those people didn't like the look of him and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, okay, but this is he's following the original intent of the character. he wears these people's faces to take on their personalities, and so that was more of a nod to that more than anything else, but done in a different way, because in the original you didn't get to know the different people that he was, the people who he wore their faces of. In our film you did. You got to know those characters and see what aspects of their personalities he was taking on, but again, done pretty subtly. So if you didn't pick up on that, then of course um it's not going to work for you as well. But it's that same aspect, and I think to me that's one aspect of the character that makes him scarier, is the fact that he does do that. It almost makes him kind of like a multiple personality disorder sort of thing,
He,
sort of
to me,
character.
he's always been truly a man of a thousand faces,
Yeah,
because he's not defined by a singular face.
yeah,
Hit his own face he doesn't even recognize. It's the faces of those that he
exactly,
kills and wears is what defines him and makes him who he is.
exactly. And again, like I just said, I think a lot of the sequels and remakes, whatever, that's been lost. It was, in the remake it was he's wearing a mask because of a face disfigurement, right? And all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's not why that wasn't the intention of the character. But it's I get it. So you get those fans that like that version of him. And I'm not dissing that version of Leatherface. It's just we went with the original intention of the character, and I wanted to do it in a different way. I didn't want to have him wear uh you know three masks that represent what he's doing, but represent who those people were, and see those personalities in those characters when they're alive, and then see how Leatherface is interpreting that personality when he's wearing their faces. I thought that gave something new at the same time, but still paying respect to the original, right? You
Yeah,
either
well, look,
got it or you didn't, though. That's the thing. Not everybody got it, and I think that could be due partially to the fact that the masks we made weren't perfect replications of the characters' faces. Some of them you could tell more than others, but it probably would have helped a little bit more if they looked a little bit more like the actors. But again, our special effects department was under the gun. They had to make those masks in a month. And that takes more than a month to do. Let's just say that it should. I mean, and that's because our original SFX artist bailed on us. It's funny. I had paid her the summer before. I'm like, let's get these masks done because we need them done. We need these characters, these actors to be molded and all this stuff. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be in touch." And it never got done. And then she sent me a big email saying, "I'm quitting this project." I thought she was stealing my money at the same time too, because I had already prepaid her for all the masks. And so all of a sudden I get this email, and I made a quick hire. And Sergio stepped up, and he's like, "Oh, it's going to be tough, but we'll get these masks done." And right in the nick of time. They didn't arrive on set till the second day of shooting. I remember that. So it was like, well, we got masks at least. You could kind of tell it was maybe a little bit of a rush job, but we didn't have a choice. I mean, it wasn't his fault because he wasn't the original guy we hired. It was it's the way she goes. But at the same time, even though they don't look that much like the characters they're supposed to look like, at the same time, I feel like they still look creepy. I don't know. To me, they do. To me, they have that creepy look to them. Some more than others, maybe, but yeah, that's
I
just me
think you
though.
were doing the movie. I mean, doing the perfect movie, I should say, for that to happen. With the special effects person. Nah, and I hate that it happened to you. But that's the thing about Leatherface's mask. It's not supposed to look like a work of art.
Oh, definitely
It's a
not like a
human.
work of art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a human's face that he's hacked off and just started wearing, after he's tanned it and all that other stuff and sewed it together with shoelaces or whatever else he does with it. It's So it's not supposed to look like Scream or Ghostface's mask or the hockey mask or the William Shatner Devil's Reign mask. It's just a hacked off human face that he's just
Yeah.
thrown on his
Yeah.
own.
And I think that comes across at least, but yeah, it's just that aspect of the character. And the last mask was kind of the most important one. So if you don't understand the last mask, if you do understand it, I should say, then a lot of stuff makes more sense to you. And I've talked about this on my podcast. You probably heard me talk about it on my podcast, but that last mask was him wearing the face of Henry, who was played by uh, Patrick Lescarbo, and his character was the father of the two young girls. And then it was the hair of the mother, who played by Jenny De La Fuente. Again, that connection was hard to make because we couldn't quite get Jenny De La Fuente's hair to get as curly as the mask was. So, because we had all kinds of wind blowing that day on set and everything, it was crazy. So I think that would have worked more if we were able to get her hair curlier. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But that's what it's meant to be. It's so the purpose of that mask is Leatherface is taking on a parental figure by wearing both parents' uh, facial features, the hair of her and the face of him, and that's tying into the whole theme of the movie. Is this keeping the family alive sort of thing? So um I wish I was able to just at least get that aspect across a little bit better, because it's the main plot of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's funny
Grandpa
how
even
yeah,
Grandpa even
exactly.
makes reference to it. I
Oh, of
need the
course.
family line to keep going.
But you know what, John? You know what's funny to me though too at the same time? This mostly in the negative reviews of our film. A lot of people in those that give negative reviews will say something like, this was just a big cannibal movie. Uh, this was all, this showed, I can't remember exactly what they say, but it's all about cannibalism. And it's just, I didn't want to watch a movie about cannibalism the whole time that's been done to death. And I was like, thought to myself, there's hardly any cannibalism references in our film. In fact, stuff was removed from the movie that we were meant to shoot that was supposed to lean more heavily towards cannibalism than we did. And I thought to myself while we're shooting, man, I wish we would shoot this scene because it gives more of that cannibalism aspect. Um, it's funny how people see uh, the cannibalism aspect more so than the actual motivation of the Sawyers in our film. I think they see it because that's what the original was, and that's what they're conditioned to see almost. But really, when you look at our film, you got Rex with that bag of barbecue, and that's really about it as far as cannibalism. That you really see, and it's just kind of loosely it's kind of it's not blunt. We'll just say that it's not very blunt, but it's implied that, okay, this barbecue that Rex has is probably humans. But you have that one scene, and everybody sees a big cannibalism movie, but it's really not. It was really more about keeping their family alive, because all the females in the Sawyer family have died, are gone now. And so they got to find a different way to spread their seed again,
Procreate. Yeah.
procreate, and try to um what's the right word here? uh there's a certain terminology I'm not able to quite put my finger. It'll come to me eventually, but make the repurify their their family line with, to try to get it as pure as they can, because obviously it won't be 100% pure, because they have to use a non-Sawyer to procreate, right? So, but it's kind of about that. It's we have to do our best to keep the Sawyer blood alive, because it was always kind of implied that the family was inbreeding.
Yeah.
But I think this film kind of explores that a little bit more, but in a subtle way. But you know, a lot of the people that didn't like the movie, they didn't see that part of it. They just see cannibalism. So it's funny how that happens, you know, that the cannibalism aspect that's barely there in our film. It's barely there. It's there, but it's barely there. They see that more so than the actual motivation, which the actual motive of the Sawyers in our film. I think that's fascinating how people, I don't know, I think they just see what they want to see sometimes, you know. I think I saw one on one review on Letterbox. It said this was a great hour and a half long gas station beef jerky commercial. And I was like, did you watch the movie at all? I don't know. Like I didn't get that review. This was an hour and a half beef jerky commercial, gas station beef jerky commercial. We shot at the gas station for one day. You know, it was one out of the 9
Well,
days of filming.
your movie is similar in a lot of ways to the original, and it's different. You're allowing everybody to because we've always asked from the 74 film, how did they get to this state of being in their lives? Now, obviously,
Mhm.
like you said, implied inbreeding. Of course, you're going to have health and mental effects from that over
Oh,
periods of
definitely. Yeah.
doing that. But in the first movie, uh, it's told in the back of the van when the machines came in, then it took away, our way of living, with the old slaughterhouse and all that other stuff, because we were more humane by hitting them in the head with a hammer and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And your movie is showing just as the family is starting to fall, which they are falling on really hard times, but they haven't really been in that downtrodden state for very long because the store is obviously still prospering. It's still producing some kind of money, but because their slaughterhouse business is gone, they had to turn to cannibalism and turn to keep customers coming back to the store to continue to pay for what they needed because the town is
Exactly.
dying.
Yeah. You get it. Yeah. It's I mean, look, I'm not gonna ever expect everybody to get those references in the Sawyer Massacre. I've had people reach out to me and question me on certain things like that, you know. And you know, there's always an explanation. You either like the explanation or you don't. But but at the same time, I definitely don't feel like we gave you a very I don't think we leaned heavily on the cannibalism aspect at all. I didn't wanna lean too heavily on it, even though I did have more scenes in the original script. That there was one scene in particular that really screamed the cannibalism. It was much more blunt, but we removed it, mostly due to the, you know, how much, you know, because of the 90s schedule. Basically, it was just tough to get everything in, and we didn't want to get we didn't want to push that aspect too much anyway. So, um, but you know, we really only got one scene that implies cannibalism. So, um, I don't know.
I don't
I don't know.
I
I wish that people would see the real motive a little bit more, but you know, it is subtle. I do get that. I was pretty subtle with my delivery. The people that got it really got it, and the people that didn't get it were like, "What?" You know, and that's okay. You know, it's not everybody's going to get that. So, that's just my style. I don't want to spoon feed people. You know, it's there, and hopefully you pick up more and more of it when when you watch it back. And in fact, I even made like a little trailer clip that really kind of explained, put all those pieces together, put it on my YouTube channel a while ago. I don't know if you've seen that, John, but yeah, it was just something that sort of ties all the pieces together. You know, you have uh, just little things like Grandpa saying to Leatherface when the black lady Dixie walks up to him. He says, "Too old," and it's like, why is he saying too old? He's saying she's too old. She's not somebody you can create babies with. it's subtle, but that's why he's saying too old, and I don't think a lot of people understood that. So he's basically telling Leatherface to kill her because she's not somebody that he's going to make babies with.
Yeah,
Stuff
or
like
just putting
that.
her in.
It's not beating you on the head saying, "Don't have sex," don't have sex with her, Leatherface. She's too, he just says too old, and that's why he kills her. Subtle,
And
but
that's
you know,
I've always viewed it through a different lens as well, where I don't think the Sawyers ever wanted to be cannibals. Now, inbreeding, yes, it
probably,
happens
yeah,
in
yeah,
certain parts of world, Kentucky, in the old
yeah,
times, and that's always the joke with Kentucky, West Virginia, blah blah blah. But it happens.
yeah,
But for them to go cannibal, it's because look at the economic decline.
yeah,
And when
exactly.
you take away a person's will or their ability to make money and to provide for their family,
What choice
and
do you have, right?
and every day you wake up to that reality, it will drive you mad.
Yeah, I totally
And
agree.
why is it in the films we always see Leatherface as the one to do the killing, but really nobody else? It's because he's the easiest one to manipulate. He was the one Grandpa knew I could show him how to do the killing because the rest of us just can't bring ourselves to do it. But he
Yeah,
could do it without any emotion or anything. It's like a machine that we just set in the motion and he just gets it done.
exactly.
That's
That's
exact.
exactly right. I would say I would think Grandpa probably when he was younger, sure, before Leatherface was born, right? Grandpa was the provider, but nobody else is quite at that level other than Leatherface. So Leatherface was kind of looked at in Grandpa's eyes, at least, as a godsend. Oh, we've got a new provider for our family, and that was sort of my take on it, anyways, on the whole aspect, and that's why Leatherface has to be the one procreating with Allison because he's going to create the strongest babies and the next family provider in the future. So need a strong woman and a strong man to create a strong baby. That was always the kind of theme that I was trying to weave in there.
Yeah,
So yeah,
he has no conscience. He is devoid of a conscience.
none.
It's why he wears the mask, people, because
Why
he
he
has no
wears them,
person.
exactly. No
He has no
personality.
personality of his own.
Yeah, he
He
needs
is a
those masks to,
wild
to gain one.
he is a wild animal that they have reined in and given a singular purpose to. Anybody
Yeah,
walks in here, take them out. No questions asked.
exactly.
It's what he does. There's no questions asked. There's no, "Oh, you surprised me." No, it's just a hammer to the head, and
That's
you've
it.
just become
We're done.
kielbasa. I
Exactly.
mean, his view of humanity is we are a food source. That's it. Like Sally at the end of the 1974 film, why do you think they were keeping her alive? Because they
I
were
don't
gonna
know, there's
procreate
some
with her.
maybe. I mean, that's a tough one. That is a tough one because there was nothing sexualized with that
It
in that whole
wasn't,
thing.
but you could clearly tell there was an ulterior motive there. Why didn't they kill her like the rest? They
Yeah,
clearly had a
well, they're
plan for
trying to
her.
get that's a tough one because they were trying to get Grandpa to kill her, right? So, I don't know,
Yeah,
I've heard that before, but, um, some of the comments I've heard on the end of the, 74 film are kinda some of the things that led me to go that way with the Sawyer Massacre. It's funny how that, how the ending with Sally can kind of inspired me to have that inbreeding, but you know breeding with Allison kind of thing at the end. um but that is definitely something that we don't know for sure. I don't know, it's hard to say, but I don't this is my here's another take. I don't think Leatherface necessarily wants to breed with Allison or anybody or any woman in particular, and he's not somebody that is going to rape somebody for pleasure. He's doing it strictly out of, we need more Sawyers. I have to create more Sawyers. It's his job.
and
This
this
is a job for
and
him.
this is what Grandpa wants me to do.
This is Grandpa's order. This is what Grandpa wants. I'm going to do it. And that's why he wears that mask at the end. That's the biggest reason for him wearing that mask. He created the mask out of the father and the mother because he is becoming the new family provider, and he's going to provide the Sawyers with a new baby, with some new, probably multiple babies, until they have to have a girl. Allison's got to have a girl for him to get back to inbreeding, right? That's how it has to work. you know because he's not going to make more babies with a boy. That's just the way it's gonna it's gonna be. You're not going to repurify the Sawyer genes with another boy. So he's obviously he's gonna breed Allison until a girl is born. That's for sure. It's funny because that's kind of opposite of what a lot of people would think. They'd probably want a boy for be a strong boy. It's Henry VIII. Why won't you women give me a boy? But it's the opposite because they need a female for inbreeding. So to repurify their bloodline. So yeah,
I've
that's
always
just
said
another.
the perfect scene for Leatherface that really encapsulates just his emotional state is that close up scene of Gunnar Hansen sitting in the living room and just staring out the window at nothing
Mm, yeah,
because there is nothing there. All you're sensing is it's almost like a scared animal that's trying to guard its territory and it's trying to figure out who are these people. Normally I have to go out or my brother has to go out and bring me these people, and now all of
yeah,
a sudden they're running up in my house.
yeah. They're coming
What
to
is
right
going
to me.
on?
What's going on? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's confused a
It,
bit by it. Right?
it's like a scared animal that's just trying to figure things out and not quite processing. And also, there's not much upstairs. It's really not, except for banging you in the head with a hammer and cutting you up with a chainsaw. That's really about it.
There you go. Oh man.
But
Ah,
that's
good
the
times.
beauty of that movie.
Oh yeah.
You can take it you can have so many different looks at it. I always looked at it and you might have a differing opinion of it. I've always said to me it was almost like the first attempt of a found footage movie.
Yeah, and it's funny. I've said that I think that found footage would probably, if they were going to make another Texas Chainsaw movie, do a found footage one. I think there's potential there. It would work. I think it would work if it's done right. Obviously, there's good and there's bad found footage for sure, but I think it would work. So
Mhm.
I'd be game for it. If they announce we're making a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie and it's going to be found footage, I'd be like, okay, cool. I'd be like, okay, that sounds
Yeah,
cool now. But
it's something different.
they did announce a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie recently, didn't they? I haven't really
Yeah,
read
and
up on it much.
it's still
I don't
that
know. Doesn't
same
sound good
bunch.
though. Yeah,
No,
doesn't sound good,
it
but
it'll probably still be the
I don't know.
Hungarian Chainsaw Massacre.
No, Bulgaria, Bulgaria.
Yeah,
They should
Bulgarian.
whatever. I don't know. I don't know. Let them do it.
I
I'll
don't
let
know
them
how
do
most
whatever they
people
want.
feel about that. I don't know how most people
It's
feel about it,
funny.
but
I've
I
heard
hated that.
some people really liked it, and I don't know. I didn't hate it as much as I hated other ones. It was a movie I could turn my brain off and just kind of enjoy it for what it was. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a good Texas Chainsaw Massacre film by any means. It was not a scary film. It was kind of laughable. Like there's some of the stuff that happened in that movie I just couldn't stop laughing at. It was so funny for me anyways. But maybe that's why I can kind of enjoy it a little bit because I could at least laugh of it. Some of the other ones I couldn't laugh at it or anything. I just couldn't enjoy anything.
You know what
But
I
that one I
hated
could at
about
least
it the
laugh.
most?
What?
The fact that they turned him into this unstoppable
Oh,
murder
I know.
tank.
in his 70s, right? A 70-year-old Leatherface. And he's like Jason. He's leaping out of the water like a dolphin, and he's hit by how many shotgun hits, and I don't know.
And then,
It was pretty ridiculous. It's like, let's make Leatherface Jason.
and
Why
then
don't we just turn Leatherface into Jason?
all the protagonists or the supposed protagonists, I hated all of them, and I was glad
Yeah,
to see them get killed. I didn't care about any of the protagonists. They were all dicks. It was, and then they bring poor Sally back just to get killed, not
yeah, it
even
was.
5 minutes after she got in town. I was like, "Wow, this sucks."
Yeah, it was. It was not a good film. That's for sure. I definitely wouldn't. I mean, I haven't seen it again since it came out. I don't think I rewatched it at all. I have no
No, I
desire to
watched it
rewatch it,
once.
but
I
I
watched it once,
watched it
and that
with
was
my
enough.
wife. I watched it with my wife, and we we just kind of laughed at a lot of it, and I was at least able to laugh at it. So I guess that was something. But overall, it's definitely not. It's not a good Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. But there hasn't really been a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film that I've been able to truly get behind since the original. Again, I thought there was elements of the remake that were really good, and then other elements of the remake that to me were really bad. So it was a very that was a very there
Oh,
was a
about the
massive
McConaughey?
juxtaposition. No, not the Matthew McConaughey one, the Jessica Biel one, that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
to me, the Matthew McConaughey one, him alone is the only thing that was good about that movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That's still most people's most hated Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, but for him alone,
But
I
damn,
don't
he
think I could
plays a
have
good
it as my worst. Yeah.
psychopath. I gotta give it to him. He does play a good
Oh, yeah.
psychopath.
Yeah,
Well, buddy,
anyways, but,
Got anything else you wanna put out?
no, I think we pretty much covered it. Just, yeah, gonna be, filming pretty soon. Uh, Thank you for everybody that has contributed to our Indiegogo and shared the links as much as you could. I know I've been a little bit silent with it over the last few months due to the amount of pre-production work I'm doing. So anybody that's like wondering what's happening with this movie, I'm probably going to make an announcement. Probably just going to do a post on our Indiegogo campaigns, an update on both of the campaigns that we've had, just to let everybody know exactly where we are and when the first production day is going to be and all that sort of stuff. But there's just scheduling conflicts are huge right now. It's trying to make it work for everybody, and you know, it's a tough one. It's a tough thing to do. The scheduling is so tough. So once we know 100% that this, when the first day is going to be, which I'm pretty confident right now when the first shooting day is going to be, but I'm not 100%. So once I know 100% that that is our first shooting day, I'll be updating our Indiegogo campaigns, and you guys will all know exactly. All of our followers will know exactly where we are in the pre-production state, and we'll post lots while we're filming a little bit too. Yeah, that's about it. But thank you all for standing by this film. I know it's an original project. I know it's not, I hope you guys can tell from the teaser trailer that released that this is not going to be a gore fest, maybe a little bit, but not a little bit of gore, but not much, a little bit of blood, but not much. Just appreciate everybody for standing by an original film like this that, yeah, that might not be everybody's cup of tea too, but it might be. I
And
don't know. We'll
and
see.
that and as we were sitting here and Steve was talking, I just purchased 3 more digital download codes from his
Oh,
Indiegogo
man.
page.
Well, thank you so much. Are you gonna do
So,
giveaways for those ones too?
yep.
There you
So,
go.
I will be doing another trivia question and on
Ooh.
each of my YouTube, Instagram, and probably either Facebook or X.
Oh, X, yeah, that's Twitter now.
Yeah.
I forget. I keep forgetting it's called X now.
Or no, maybe I'll do it on my TikTok this time
TikTok. There you go.
'cause
I
I
gotta
I
get.
do get I get a lot of, interaction on there.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, do it on TikTok. TikTok is great. I
So,
should almost create a TikTok for Unseen. I still have a one for the Sawyer Massacre, but I don't use it very much. I don't really upload a lot to TikTok. I just don't use. I know it's popular, and I know you can gain a great following, but I just haven't really quite figured it out yet. I think TikTok is one of those weird ones, but we're pretty active on Instagram and Facebook,
well,
so you
if you
can
need to
find
get hip
Unseen
pops
on
and need somebody to show you how to use TikTok, just hit up your
there.
boy here. I'll show you how.
There you
'Cause I'm
go.
in the know.
Are you in the know? Do you have
Yeah.
like 10 million followers like some of these TikTokers? I don't know how they get like
No, but
10 million followers, and they're
no,
not
but that
doing
don't
anything. It's like their
no, but that don't
videos are
count.
the
I'm still popular to my 1,000 followers that I cherish and love.
There you go, 1,000 followers. But you
I'm
got like
almost at 1,500 on, TikTok.
oh, okay. There you go. Well, you're over 5,000 on YouTube though, right? More than me.
It's kinda
I've
it's
I got
kinda
like
yeah,
3,000.
I think, what I was doing has kinda run its course, so I've been thinking about changing it up and just, I don't know, doing, indie movie interviews with people like you and other indie filmmakers and just turning my channel into a indie film promotion kinda thing
Wow. I
with
would
rev
I wouldn't say no to that. I like that idea. I like it.
with
If you were a fan of indie film, I think that's great. We need more people doing that.
well, that way I can have actors and actresses on, special effects people,
Yeah.
directors, and so forth, and interview them, and let people get to know them. And it's to me, it's an untapped space of YouTube where horror YouTube channels are a dime a dozen. Man, you throw us a rock at, and you'll hit a horror channel on YouTube. So it's whatever. And through my analytics, though, I don't really care. I'm one of them people that if 30 people watch what I did, to me, that's amazing because that's 30 people that actually took time out of their day to enjoy my stuff. So I don't really
Exactly.
get hung up on that. But I've been able to tell lately that things have been getting stagnant. So I'm like, okay, what I was doing has kind of run its course. So maybe I still want to do my minute movie reviews because I enjoy doing those because they challenge me. Because the reason it challenges me because I try to do a entire review for a movie in a minute.
In a minute. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Keep
Yeah.
doing those.
And
Keep doing those. I think they're good.
so,
And
so I,
that's short enough to fit in the shorts section of videos, I believe,
yep,
right? Yeah. There
yep.
you go.
And
You need
that
content in
challenges me.
those. Yeah. Good.
And then I'll do Saturday morning memories because I love old Saturday morning cartoons. So I do the Saturday morning memories more for myself. So I don't
Yeah.
but I put like little trivia and stuff in there for people and like what went on behind the scenes when they were making your favorite cartoon and different
That's pretty
things.
cool.
So I do
I like that.
research on that kind of stuff. So
That's cool.
but the minute movie reviews are hard. People will think it's easy. It's not. You're trying to write out an entire movie review script form and fit it within 60 seconds. That sucks. Like when I did my Blade
Yeah.
Runner, if you notice, my Blade Runner was over 2 minutes because I couldn't do a 60-minute one. Not for that movie.
Yeah. I can imagine. Oh, well. Yeah,
And
keep
plus, I
doing it,
love
man, but
Blade Runner.
I like the interviews too. I think the interview I would gear that way. Indie filmmaker, indie actresses. That'd be awesome. I'm sure some of the actors from my film or from Sawyer Massacre would probably definitely want to come on. Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to sit and talk with Nika, especially because I'm just a big fan of hers. I just absolutely adore her because she just so much talent. Just so much
Exactly.
talent. And I'm
Awesome.
not even a filmmaker, and I can notice that. What's wrong with the rest of you that actually make
I know.
movies? I'm just some nerd that watches them.
There you go. I'll tell Nika. I'll let her know. Awesome.
Yeah, I've wanted to reach out to Felisa, but I know she's way too busy. Way too busy.
Well, you never know. I have seen her do a couple of I think I can't remember which one I saw her on. I did see her on one similar type of YouTube channel or podcast or doing the live streaming thing. So it's possible. It doesn't hurt to reach out. You just never know. Yeah.
And Brett, like to get him on. I want to
Yeah. He'd be awesome.
hear his behind the scenes of working on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Exactly.
which I'm sure he had fun with it. I'm sure he did.
Oh yeah. Of course he had to leave, right? But I've heard him tell that story, and it's kind of a bummer story. But Brett, you got to blame the wardrobe department. There's no way that Leatherface should be wearing that type of clothes in that movie. But anyways, that's my thoughts. Anyways, but for me personally, that's one thing that takes me out of that remake is the wardrobe that Leatherface is wearing. I just don't find it believable, and obviously it's not believable because he got heat stroke. So, anyways, but
Yeah, South
that's just
Texas,
me.
go figure.
Yeah, no kidding. Anyways, but I know Brett did have fun with that, so it's pretty iconic. Even if he only got to do one kill, but hey, he got to do a kill as Leatherface, so that's pretty cool.
Yep. And anyway, guys, I have, like I said earlier, 3 more digital download codes. And if you already won one, please contact Steve and get up with him so he can put your name as being the one to receive your code that you won. Unless
There
you
you
just
go.
don't want it, and then I could just keep it and give it to somebody else because
Exactly.
that's what's going to happen. I'll just have to keep till somebody finally takes it.
Yeah.
So I got
To
three
get
more.
the digital download, all I need is your email address. That's all I
Yeah,
need. Your name and
I'm
email
not.
address, and then
I'm not.
that's
I'm not asking for your social security number,
yeah.
address, and or your birth certificate. So you're safe.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So just keep that in mind.
And
Just need your email
it
address and you'll get it.
it's a free movie. I paid for it. It's not like,
Yeah. What a nice
I'm not
guy. What a nice guy this John guy is, eh?
get you a free movie. Shit.
Well, thank you so
Nobody ever
much,
gave.
John. I really appreciate that. It all helps get our film made. So you've been a massive supporter for me, not just with Unseen, but a lot with the Sawyer Massacre. And just want to say thank you so much for all that you have done over the years since I've known you. You're definitely one of the people I've met in this community that I'm really glad that I met.
Funny how I read a article on Bloody Disgusting about you and ended up becoming friends.
Isn't that weird how that happens sometimes? Funny
Well,
how I
how have
even got that article on Bloody Disgusting. I thought there's no way they're going to run our press release, but they did. So thank you, Bloody
yep,
Disgusting, for running it.
and I reached out to you. Hey, you want to come on my podcast? I just started this podcast. I'm completely green. You want to come on and talk about your movie? Sure. It's like,
There you
really?
go. Why not? Let's
So
do it.
you've kind of been you've kind of been along for the ride with me from the time I started behind the scenes. So you've been kind of one of the founders of this thing too.
Well, that's pretty cool
Because
to know then, because I think it's great. We need good people out there spreading the word and making good content and I think we need more people like you, John, and the other John I was talking about earlier, John Henderson. I was really encouraging to him as well, and I'm so glad to see he's taken off with Doomsday's Crypt as well, and he's got Brett on his show. Like they have a show together called DK and the Schwag. I love that name, DK and the Schwag. So yeah, I mean it's good to see you guys growing, man. It's great to see that you guys are all growing and my YouTube channel is not really growing very much these days because I haven't really been posting enough content on it. I got to change that. But this movie's kind of taken priority. This movie's not going to be easy, that's for sure. So, but I appreciate all the help, man. I appreciate it.
you're welcome. So Amy says she wants one of those download codes. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a trivia question real quick and take your time. So 2007's Paranormal Activity was made for $15,000, but how much did it make at the box office combined? You want that code? You can use Google. I'm not watching. I can't see you anyway.
See
So
if she gets it.
$15,000 was their
That's
budget,
a low
and they
budget.
made it. And how much did they make at the box office worldwide? And that's for you, Amy.
Worldwide, not domestic.
Yep. I think I got a 15,000 budget. Yeah, God. Imagine you make a movie and how it became a phenomenon like that for 15,000. How much did it make at the box office? And now them guys, I think, own like Blumhouse. The
Oh,
ones that
is that?
created, I
could
think,
see that.
it was Jason Blum and the boys.
Really?
And now they're
Wow.
now they got their hands into everything that's horror movie nowadays.
There you
So
go.
109, it's 15,000. And how much did they earn worldwide box office? Because it did have a limited release because it being a indie film at the time. Come on, Amy, you're supposed to know this.
You have access to
Wikipedia.
Google. He's giving you access. He's letting you Wikipedia it. Jeez.
Yep, she got it. She got it. She got
Oh,
it.
there we go.
194 million. So Amy got her a
194
digital.
million. Holy crap.
Yep.
That's
So
huge.
Amy wins a digital download code. Okay, guys, there's only 2 codes left. Unless them guys don't answer Steve, then there'll be 4 more codes left.
Oh, I'm
'Cause
sure they'll let send me all yeah, I've got Eduardo already, so don't worry about him. It's the other 2. Send me their stuff. Send me their info, and I will reach out to them. Yeah,
Alrighty. So that's
there you
right.
go.
2 more codes. Yep, it was one of Blumhouse's first films. And now
Awesome.
they are a mega studio.
Yeah, no kidding.
Maybe Sequanda Films will be that one day, buddy.
I hope so. You never know. You never know. It's anything's possible. So definitely have to do a good job with Unseen though. We have to make a good movie here. We do have a
True
bigger
that.
budget. We have a slightly bigger budget than 15,000 though. So hey,
Yep.
slightly bigger. It's like 16,000 or something like that. But hey, it's more. Who's to say we can't make something awesome for 16 grand? It's not easy though. And who knows whether Jason Blum and them were breaking any laws or anything. You never know. Did they have permits? Did they have insurance? Who knows?
There's no telling. I know all them the actors in the very first Paranormal Activity. I think they were just like friends and some actors they found from an acting school or something to that effect.
Hmm,
I believe.
there
I'm
you go.
not quite sure of that. I haven't really researched that movie that hard. I just went in and just found random. I have a book of horror movie trivia that I pulled a lot of the stuff from
Oh yeah.
for this giveaway. And that was one of the interesting ones because I was like, wow, 15 grand and you made almost 200
200
million.
million. Oh, that's huge. That's a definitely quite the profit. Quite the
Yeah,
profit.
that's one hell of a return on your investment.
Well,
All
thanks
right,
again,
buddy.
John. I really appreciate you having me on your show, and
Not a
we'll gotta
problem.
do this again. We gotta do this again sometime. Maybe I'll get you on my channel one of these days. If I
Hey,
ever do a show on it again. I will. I will do a show
br-
on it again someday.
bring me on. I'm game. I'm game.
There you go.
Anybody else got a show out there you want to guest? Just want to talk to an old horror movie nerd? Just hit me up. Not hard to
There
find.
you go.
And I ain't shy. Now I won't
There you
bite
go.
either. And if I do, I've had my shots.
Awesome.
All right, buddy. Well, I
All
want to
right.
thank everybody for coming on here and supporting and interacting with us. Hopefully, I've knocked the rust off and gotten better at this thing again. Uh, so I guess it's like riding a bike. Luke says, "I
Oh
wish
yeah.
I was the." Luke says, "I wish I was the meat in this sandwich."
Ah,
Good old Luke.
the cream in the Oreo. You wish we.
Yeah, it's like the old days when I'd be doing live streams. He would put random shit in the comments. Well,
Well,
all
that
right,
the
buddy.
Oreo
It's
reference
been a
doesn't work. The Oreo reference doesn't work so well because you and I are both white too. We need two black guys and then a white guy in the middle, and then you've got a good
yeah,
Oreo.
or two white guys with two black guys. Then it's double stuff.
Oh, there you go. Great stuff. All right, I better get going here. The kids are sleeping now, so I gotta be quiet.
All right, buddy. Well, it's
All
been
right,
a pleasure having you back on. Let's do it more often.
definitely. Have a good night, everybody.
Yep. Everybody, thank you, and we'll see you later.
Amy, what are you writing?